What do you think of New World? I didn't like it. Only played for 3 hours, but yeah, I didn't have any fun. You gonna finish Judgment? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Any day now. Yeah, 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 yeah. Just a YouTube night. Nothing too wild or wacky. Next to the resub, Arentaria. Martin Shkreli got out of prison. How? Wasn't he like jailed for like 20 years? Next to tier 1 ISR. And the gift sub Necrob. Next to resub Zenitsu. And the tier 1 Wiener Warrior. And resub Slick. And resub Lonely Sasquatch. Didn't we do YouTube night the day before yesterday? Yeah, but there's nothing I feel like playing today. Thanks for 5 gift subs, Redshaw. We did an afternoon stream where we maxed out Bayonetta. I don't really feel like playing anything tonight. I just want to hang out, watch some good shit. Thanks to tier 1 Rising Hopper. And the resub Brilliant Caress. Crime pays, botany doesn't. Okay. It's a whole channel. What am I looking for? iRec 116. Thanks to tier 1 Diopercod and gift sub Grunt. Is this just actual botany? Why are you recommending this?
What are you doing? You're cute little coyote pup. Come here, buddy.
Thanks to resub Hansen.
I'm not trying to fuck with you.
I don't know if I'll play RimWorld. We'll see.
Come here. Hey. Hey, you gotta get over here. Come here. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 come here.
Is he climbing over the barbed wire? Wow.
No, it's okay. Hey, 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 hey.
I mean, just let him go home. You're scaring him.
Shh. Come here. Hey. Shh. You're okay. I'm not gonna fuck with you.
Oh my god, that's
Don't
so
worry
cute.
about it. No, you're not that tough. Come here. Hey.
Dio Porco. Got it.
You gotta go to a rehab facility or something. Listen to me. Hey. You probably got mange. Maybe you got rabies. I should have brought my goddamn gloves. Shh. It's okay. It's okay.
Doesn't it live here? Why would it need to go to rehab? A drug addiction or something?
You need help. You know, and I just don't want to get bitten. I want to help you, but I don't want to get bitten. Did some redneck shoot your parents? What's going on?
What? I mean, don't just ask him that point blank. What?
It's okay.
Jesus
I'm not
Christ.
gonna fuck with you. Not in a bad way. But please don't bite me. But I've had my rabies spider. If it makes you feel any better. It's okay. What happened to your folks? Huh? Did rednecks kill your folks? I think you gotta come with me. I was gonna take you to a rehab. My friend Cece works in a rehab. Shh, it's okay.
Aww.
That was cute. You think you're tough. You're trying to show me you're tough. I believe you. I believe
I mean,
you.
it's a coyote. He's gonna fuck you up. Or maybe not. I don't really know how coyotes operate. Maybe they're not very tough at that age. Thanks to the resub Boss Patrol and give sub Turbo and resub Jaclellan and the bits Psych, Nicholas, Uncle Bingus, and Knife. Thanks for the bits. ODST was fine. It wasn't like my favorite Halo game or anything. Thanks to the resub. Messy. Thanks to the resub Eslin, Sensei, and Guns. And the Prime Steel, Ronin, and resub Bless, and Sasquatch. And the resub Mimikyu's Revenge. And the resub Yusuke. Do you know Hard Rock Nick? Yeah. Thanks to the gift sub Lando and Prime Drake. Nope, haven't watched Star Wars Visions yet. And I have not tried Skyrim VR. Thanks to the resub J-Puff. Newest Earth 2 type scam called Upland. Is this? I don't think that's real, but you know what? I'll look it up anyway. Make money playing games on your phone or PC. That does sound like a scam. You can't make money playing games. There's not a whole lot about this. Thanks to the 2 gift subs BT Dog and the resub Retro and the tier 1 Lemon Jello, tier 1 Callum Loves You and gift sub Oinkin and resub Cryptic and tier 1 Vespert. No Lake Nyo's incident. Is this something I can even watch on stream? Just from this picture alone, it doesn't look like it. They're all like cut up and bruised and it looks like real photos of it. Thanks to the resub KTB. Hey, well, hope you enjoy it, Gothic. Have fun. Thanks to the resub Bucket and the bits ISR and tier 1 Stephen Faw. And the gift sub Turbo. And the resub Seagull and V Senpai. The tier 1 Tonk Lord. Ever watching Dangerous Dave? No. So what is this? I'll at least get the gist before I know, or before I commit. There's the Prime Masonator. Cereal or milk first? Cereal. Doesn't make any sense to do milk first because then the milk splashes when you put the cereal in. It's pretty counterintuitive.
August 15th, 1984. Night falls on Lake Manaon, a serene, quiet body of water in Cameroon, Africa. Along its shores
tier 1 Hope
lies
and
a
resub
sleepy
Korbanski.
road, where that night, a truck crammed with 12 passengers would follow its twists and turns. As the vehicle passed through a dark wooded area, a dense fog began to emerge from the lake, rolling along the ground and covering the surrounding area like a blanket. It engulfed the road in an instant, but as far as the driver was concerned, a foggy night by the water was nothing too out of the ordinary.
Oh, but it was killer fog.
Their final destination.
Like in the Courage the Cowardly Dog episode.
Would never be reached. Moments following the emergence of this heavy fog, the engine within the vehicle began to sputter, before shutting down completely
No, I haven't seen
and
that
slowing the
siren.
crippled vehicle to a stop. The driver twists the ignition over and over again, but nothing. The engine was completely unresponsive. Sitting on the roof of the parked truck were 2 of the 12 passengers, who watched as one by one those inside of the
Is the
vehicle
resub
crawled
8-bit
out to
bits?
investigate the breakdown. They watched as the group of 10 walked towards the truck's hood, and they watched as one by one they began to collapse, falling to the ground without a single word.
I think
In
I
just a
already know what
moment's
happened.
time, the entire group of 10 had perished.
Let me take a guess. It's like what I saw in Dr. Stone. There must have been, what was it? What's that, like, deadly gas that can sometimes be found near, like, a volcano? It is, not hydrogen peroxide. What the fuck is it? It was in Dr. Stone. What was it? Was it sulfuric? Was it sulfuric acid? Oh, okay. So it was sulfur then, yeah. Hey, sucks. Hydrogen sulfide. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. But yeah, that's my guess. I don't know if I really want to watch 20 minutes of it because I'm pretty sure that's the only explanation is that nearby there was like that gas blowing through, so it wasn't actually mist, it was that gas. Or at least
As the
one of
passengers on the
those.
roof looked on in horror, they
Thanks for
began
some
to witness the
crazy
cattle
Zax and
and
give
other
some lore and
livestock
clef.
shriek in agony before falling to the ground as well. Even the bugs dropped from the sky, as on a night where you would typically hear the sound of a million insects, it instead grew deathly silent. That day, 37 people in total would lose their lives,
Yep,
with hundreds of
100%.
livestock suffering the same mysterious fate.
Thanks for sub sappy.
It was a disaster
Long
that
dark,
happened
maybe.
in an instant, but to most of the outside world, it didn't happen at all. Left baffled, Cameroon authorities had no explanation to this sudden loss of life, leading to the event almost immediately being covered up. Black
Since I already know what happened, it's not really worth going through, but I'm curious what it was. Let's see. Did I hit it right on the head? Was it the, like, sulfur? Not sulfur. It was a limnic eruption at Lake Nyos. Killed 1,700 people. The eruption triggered the sudden release of about 100 to 300,000 tons of carbon dioxide. Oh. It was just a fucking ton of CO2. I thought it was going to be that gas from Dr. Stone. I mean, it's not from Dr. Stone, it's real gas. Like, it's a real thing. Thanks to resub Ace of Spades and Cyberlord Selden and Vexed. It's not really a mystery. Like, I was able to guess that immediately. I just got it wrong of what actually happened, or what it actually was. It's limnic caused by limnic eruptions. Yep, just read that. Yeah, because CO2 is heavier than air. All our science is from Dr. Stone, pretty much. Dr. Stone invented science. Here's the prime mark. They're lying to you. It was 5G radiation. Oh, that'd be huge. Imagine. Thanks for some Clef and Lore Master. They had actually installed a 5G tower. I looked it up because I was getting too curious. I couldn't remember. It was hydrogen sulfide in Dr. Stone and sulfur dioxide. Eggs of the Bits Slushy and Risa Bonta and Macho Man Randy Savage. The movie that accidentally killed half its cast? You're talking about the Lion movie, right? '1956 film The Conqueror. Never heard of it.
The story of the 1956 film The Conqueror is among the most shameful in the history of Hollywood. The big-budget would-be blockbuster featured an epically miscast John Wayne as a 13th century Mongol warlord Genghis Khan.
Genghis
It's not just
Khan,
that
let's
Genghis Khan
go.
had a southern drawl. No, that's bad enough. The worst part is The Conqueror nearly killed half its cast. One of the last films produced by the famously eccentric businessman Howard Hughes,
Whoa.
The Conqueror was a critical laughingstock and a commercial failure. In his later years, Hughes reportedly bought up every print of the film he could
Thanks,
find
Yusuf
and
Jelly.
obsessively watched it nearly every evening in his private screening room. Why? Some speculate it was out of guilt over the decision to film The Conqueror in a nuclear fallout zone. Yes, it's true.
Holy
The Conqueror was
fuck.
filmed on location outside the dusty, sleepy town of St. George, Utah, which lay about 100 miles downwind of the U.S.
that's
government's
incredible.
nuclear test zone. In 1953 alone, the government ran 11 nuclear tests there, assuring the residents of St. George that there was no danger from the radiation.
He's the
They were
prime
wrong.
perk.
Between 1954, when The Conqueror filmed in St. George, and 1981, no fewer than 91 of the production's 220 cast and crew contracted some type of cancer. And that number doesn't include incidents of cancer among family members who also spent the summer on the set. At the time, it was thought the location was safe, so even Wayne himself brought his sons Patrick and Michael for an extended visit. Both later developed cancer. At one point, a
Holy
Geiger counter was brought
shit.
to the set, but it gave off so much noise that Wayne assumed it was malfunctioning. But it wasn't, and the cast and crew soon began to suffer the effects. Wayne's co-star, Pedro Armendariz, developed kidney cancer in 1960 and took his own life in 1963 after being given a terminal diagnosis. That same year, director Dick Powell succumbed to cancerous lymphoma.
Oh
Another
my
of Wayne's
God.
co-stars, veteran stage and screen actress and four-time Academy Award nominee Agnes Moorehead, passed away from uterine cancer in 1972. And Khan's love interest, Susan Hayward, died of pneumonia brought on from complications due to brain cancer in 1975. As for Wayne, he received a diagnosis of lung cancer in 1964. After having one of his lungs and 4 ribs removed, he was declared cancer-free and went on to star in several more classic films,
Thanks to the prime
including The
Brett,
Green Berets
who's
and True
weaponized
Grit.
in Jasmine.
His final role in the 1976 western The Shootist was an eerie harbinger of things to come. He portrayed an aging gunfighter who engages in one last campaign for frontier justice after being told that his painful death from cancer is imminent. During a routine gallbladder removal in 1979, surgeons found a malignant tumor which forced them to remove the Duke's stomach. Wayne died 6 months later. All told, 46 people who worked on The Conqueror died from cancer or related illnesses, and they weren't alone. A subsequent study concluded that as many as 11,000 Americans, a figure which some believe to be ridiculously conservative, lost their lives as a result of Cold War-era
Some
nuclear
fungus.
testing. Since 1990, a fund established by Congress has paid out $2 billion to residents of the very fallout area where The Conqueror was filmed, an area which includes
Oh
St.
my
George, in
God.
which cancer rates remain abnormally high. In 2015, St. George resident and activist Michelle Thomas, a cancer survivor whose mother died from the disease, told The Guardian, "It's gone into our DNA. I've lost count of the friends I've buried. I'm not patriotic. My government lied to me. You have to forgive me if I don't give a shit about John Wayne. They rewrote my DNA. They rewrote my
Well,
life."
John Wayne
By all
didn't
accounts,
do it.
Hughes considered his choice of location for the Conqueror shoot to be the worst mistake of his life. To his credit, though, it should be noted that before selecting St. George as a location, he was worried about the possibility of radiation danger from the testing. So he asked the government's Atomic Energy Commission for advice. Their answer? They told him it would be perfectly safe. Check out one of our newest videos right
That's
here.
actually
Plus,
fucking nuts. Holy shit. Thanks to resub Dolan and Leica in the Prime Thug. The Twilight Zone disaster is when the helicopter crashed and killed people, right? I know that one. Hey, Red. That's pretty cool, Buckaroo. Yeah, I'll be playing through the Halo Infinite campaign when it comes out. It's not coming out at launch, is it? Isn't it just multiplayer that they're launching with? Oh, no, it's co-op campaign that they're not having. That's right. Thanks, resub Kirkland in Tier 1. Oh, my lordy lord. Oh, yeah, we can do the Veritasium video. I wanted to see that one. with the bowling balls. I don't know how it can be a 28-minute bowling ball thing. I am
A portion
curious.
of this video was sponsored by Salesforce. This
Thanks,
is
Resub.
the biggest, most
Ectobius.
in-depth video about bowling ever. How bowling balls are made, the best way to throw
Hey, well,
them,
thank you, OG
maximize
son, for the big
strikes, how
50.
the lanes are oiled, what it takes to be a pro, and
Yeah, I
how
need to
this
look up
sport
Melty
has
Blood.
continually been reinvented for literally thousands of years up to the present day. This is the science of bowling, the most popular participatory sport in the United States.
What?
I'm super impressed.
Bullshit.
With that.
How is
I'm
bowling
even
the most
more
popular?
interested than you are.
What is inside a bowling ball? Well, I sent this ball to Creative Electron to get a 3D X-ray scan, and this is the result. What is that? I always expected bowling balls to be, you know, perfect solid spheres, but there's something inside here, and it's not symmetric,
Thanks,
and
Resub
it's not
Rastaland.
even centered in the ball.
Thanks, Coro.
So I went to Storm
Thanks, the
Bowling,
Resub
one of only
Citrus.
11 bowling ball manufacturers in the world, to find out how bowling balls are made.
Yeah, basically when we make bowling balls, we always start in the center, and the center part of the bowling ball is the weight block. And as you can see, this is an example of an asymmetrical shape weight block. So it's actually a different shape about the X, the Y, and the Z axes.
I guess I never really stopped to think how bowling balls were made.
The weight blocks are embedded in a core of lightweight glass beads.
I just assumed it was like a giant sphere of
I feel like I have not felt anything this
cement.
What's the difference in density between this sort of filler material and this core?
It's quite a bit, about 2.5 to 3 times more dense in the inner weight block than it is in the core material.
Oh, some are.
If you were to look, for example, at this actual core, number one, it says 960, which means that it weighs 9.60 pounds. And then the description here underneath, which is a 03, this indicates what type of a weight block is inside of it.
What happens over here?
So this area right here is our urethane area. So basically what we have are a number of different tanks that are set up. So there's a chemical reaction that occurs once it actually fills the mold.
And you did how it's
That
made
cover
on them
stock
for bowling
material
balls?
Around the core, it gets extremely hot in just a matter of minutes. If you go right down here, she's actually pouring the pin material inside the tops of those cores. So you can see for this particular bowling ball, it's a bright orange type of a material, and she's actually filling that hole with that plug material. We've got the lathe right here, which is where we
He's the
take
prime
the balls that
protagonist.
come out of the mold. Then we actually
Yeah,
spin
I heard
almost
about
2,000
Farfa.
RPMs. On top of there's the blades that come around, and it actually makes the balls perfectly round. So they'll actually trim those up.
Since the balls are not symmetric, they are heavier on one side than the other.
And you can see there the last 4 or 5 pumps of air,
Is it
where it
Resub
actually
Andrew?
floats the air, then it stops and pauses, that the ball has completely settled. And then basically a needle will
I would have
come out
never
from the
thought
bottom
they'd make
part,
every bowling
and all
ball
of a
by
sudden it'll
hand. Well,
shoot
not
up,
by hand.
and it'll be
But
able
like
to
having
center
so
gravity
much
up
on-hand
the
work
ball.
done.
When it comes right off the lathe, right here, it is extremely porous and very, very dull, and there's a ton of friction between the ball and the lane at this point. So every ball from right here will be smoothed up. It's just a matter of how much it's going to be smoothed up in order to get what is the desired finish.
But before they can use these balls, they have to be drilled. But
There's
that
a
is
tier 1
specific to each
Andro.
bowler.
How many balls are you making a day?
We're making over 3,000 balls in a day now that come out of this plant right here.
That's pretty fucking impressive. Thanks to Prime Big Mo.
It's wild. I found the bowling ball equivalent of clickbait. You won't believe your eyes. The mind-bending hook.
Right?
Yeah, it's how you have to sell your stuff.
Thanks to Resub
Exactly,
Ryan.
yeah.
But how did it come to be this way? Well, bowling seems to be an ancient game.
Bullshit.
Archaeologists have found wall drawings of a sport that looks like bowling
Ancient
in an
Egyptian?
tomb dating back 7,000 years.
This is not
In
bowling.
Germany,
This is like
bowling was used as a religion.
that was absolutely not bowling. Those don't look like pins. They look like little butt plugs. That was absolutely some kind of like kinky orgy kind of shit. Though to be fair, this looks kind of cool. I can already imagine the trick shots you could do.
In Germany, Bowling was used as a religious ritual.
I can't imagine it
Pins
actually be ancient
represented
Egyptian.
your sins, so you were a
He's
good
tier 1
Christian
dirty
if you could
laundry
knock
and
them
tier
all
1
down.
guac.
Martin Luther
There's
himself
Donnie.
was apparently a bowling fanatic and fixed the number of pins at 9. When the game made its way over to America, 9-pin bowling was banned because it promoted gambling. The legend goes that people cleverly came up with 10-pin bowling to get around the law. Whoa, totally different game. Today in the US, 9-pin bowling is only played in Texas because it was the one state that didn't ban it, instead charging a tax. Bowling lanes are about 3.5 feet wide and 60 feet long down to the head pin. I'm using imperial units here because that's actually how they're defined. The
I
lane
prefer
is
freedom
made
units.
of 39 narrow boards that bowlers number for reference. They used to be made of maple and pine wood, but these days most lanes are synthetic and made of fine particles coated with melamine resin. One game of bowling gives you 10 frames with 2 throws per frame to try to knock down all 10 pins. The highest score you can get in a game without a strike is only 190. But strikes allow you to double count your next 2 throws.
My highest
so
game is a
perfect game with all
232.
strikes gives you a score of 300. If you're anything like me, the whole game is just trying to throw the ball as straight as you can down
Bowling
the middle
is
of the
not
lane,
dumb.
hit the head
It's
pin,
fucking
and try to
great.
take as many other pins down with it as possible.
Do you want to give me any tips? Or
I've watched LeBron bowl.
He's
It
a
won't be
prime
worse than
chili.
him.
you say that now. See, that's what I would normally do. And I would normally be like reasonably happy with a shot like that.
That
But
was
for
garbage.
Pro bowlers
Holy
like Pete
fuck.
Weber or Chris Barnes,
For a perfect game.
Pete Weber's the
the
best.
game is different.
Who do
And
you
not
think
just
you
because
are?
they're
I
way better
am.
than me.
God damn it, that's right.
Who do you think you are? I am. Damn it right.
Hitting the head pin square on is not the perfect strategy. If you hit the head pin square on going straight, you're unlikely to knock down all the pins. You could end up with a split where the ball goes through the middle, or with the ball deflecting off to one side after hitting the head pin. Chances for a strike are much higher if the center of the ball hits the pins just to one side of the head pin.
That's
or
right,
it's
baby.
17.5. In which case, the ball takes out the 1, 3, 5, and 9 pins, which take out the
Bowling, I
others.
think, is just so
So
easy.
we want the ball to hit the 1 pin.
Just
the
throw
3,
some fucking lumber
pin
down
behind
there,
the
like a
which is the 5 pin,
15-pounder, get a
and
little
then the
spin on
9
it.
Or the 8 and the 9.
You want
It's
the ball to
GG.
hit all of those pins.
Yeah.
Now the pins don't always fall this way, but the pin shape helps. Pins roll in circles like eggs, which help knock down the others.
Amateur.
7 pin. Yeah, that's right, baby. Come on, don't miss. You wanted it, you got it.
But to have
There's
an over
some Dark
90%
Atlas in
chance
the
of getting a
prime
strike,
Lana
the
ball.
center of the ball has to hit with
Oh,
an
sweet. Well,
error
thank you,
smaller than
protagonist.
half a board. Needless to say, throwing a ball 60 feet straight at a target smaller than a dime is a tough task, especially to do it consistently.
Nah, it's
Luckily,
pretty fucking
there
easy.
is a better way.
Now, if we look at the pins, and as you look at them from here, from straight on, the spot between the head pin, the one that's in the center,
Is
and
it
the
tier 1
3 pin, which is just right
cheeseburger?
of that gap's pretty narrow. But as the ball hooks more, now we basically shift over, and now that space is considerably wider.
If you can hit the pins not head on, but at an angle of 6 degrees, you dramatically increase your chances of knocking them all down. Now the margin for
Is
error
Yusuf gonna
is
barf?
greater.
In
The ball
toucans
can be
and
coming in
PJ.
anywhere from board 17 to 18.5. That is a board and a half of room, and that still gives you greater than a 90% chance of a strike. Now 6 degrees may not sound like a lot, but it's actually extremely difficult to hit. The problem is, if you wanted to throw
This
the
is some
ball
bowling
straight at the pins and
propaganda.
hit
It's
them at
not.
6
It's not
degrees,
hard.
you would have to be bowling from 3/4 over on the next lane. And that is impossible, what with the 2 gutters in between and all. So the solution is, you've got to curve the ball on 1 lane.
I feel like I have never spun a ball.
Is the bits balling?
Is that hard?
So if you got it under your can and the ball's underneath, and you're trying to spin it,
Yep.
that's basically the motion that players use these days.
Make a bowling
This
video?
really became
When
a
I
big
was
part of the
active on
sport for
Snapchat, I
housing.
used to have a lot of bowling
Wood
clips
gets
with my
beat
friends
up,
and I would go and drink.
Damage from all the balls going.
I'd always
into
go
it.
over
And so
200.
they basically created slip agents, lubricants, much like oil in a car, so that the lanes didn't get.
I haven't
damaged.
been in like 6 years though.
So the original idea was to.
Who knows? Maybe
protect
now I
The
suck at it.
original idea was just to protect the surface of the lane. It was not to manufacture anything from a competitive scoring type environment.
But applying oil to protect the wood meant that balls no longer gripped the lane
Thanks to
and
the
rolled
gift sub
without
Zoink
slipping
and
down
resub
pins.
Picarelli.
Instead, they could skid, rotating not in their direction of travel. Now, I've been to a lot of bowling alleys before making this video,
Oh yeah, I'm nutty at
and
this.
I noticed it was a bit greasy, but I always thought that was just the nature of bowling alleys, like the stinky rental shoes. I didn't know they intentionally put oil on the lanes. Vox has a great video specifically about oil patterns. These days, there are machines specifically for applying oil to the lanes.
And then as proprietors went, well, yeah, it does make the ball skid. Well, if I put more in the middle than the outside, well, my bowlers bowl a little bit better and they're happier.
Thanks to the
And then
gift
as
sub Super
technology
Goat.
advances, like everything does, now we have $30,000 lane machines that can put a specific amount of oil on each board.
They work kind of like
The
dot
resub-
matrix printers.
and the
They
resub
can
Super
lay the
Goat.
oil on with varying degrees of thickness across the lane and extend the oil pattern different distances. There are hundreds of different patterns that can be used. Usually, the oil extends about 2/3 the way down the lane, so to around 40 or 45 feet. But there's always a dry patch of wood before the pins that increases the friction with the ball, getting it to start rolling without slipping. And
Yep,
this leads
I
to
knew
the
that.
3 parts of any pro bowler's throw: the skid, the hook, and the roll.
They make it sound much more impressive
When a
than
bowler
it
releases
actually
the ball, it can be
is.
going 20 miles
If
an
I
hour
was shitty
and
at bowling, my
spinning
mind would be
500
blown. I'd be like, oh my god, this is the hardest
It's
sport
nearly
ever.
10 full
But I'm
revolutions
fucking nutty
per
at
second.
bowling, and none of this
Right-handers
goes into my
move the
head.
ball to the right on the lane while spinning it to the left. During the skid phase, the ball slides down the
Thanks to
lane,
Tier 1
spinning,
J,
but
and the
not
resub
rolling.
Shadow Dragon,
As it
Alex,
comes to
and
the end
Lil
of the
T.
oil, the friction
Let me see, hold on. Surely someone saved my old bowling Snapchats when we used to go like every Friday and drink. Let me see. Give me one sec. I used to post them on Snapchat all the time. My record was 8 strikes in a row. And it would have been 9 too if I didn't get fucking robbed on the, what was it, like the 4th frame or something? Where would I find my old Snapchats? Would someone have put them on YouTube maybe? I know some people have my old Snapchats there, but I don't know about the bowling ones. Let's see. I don't see it. Thanks to the resub Anubis, Mark, and Vincent. Yeah, I could just go bowling and film it, I guess. I don't think it'd be a good video, though. I'd probably just film and then post it on, like, Huge Charles channel or something. Because I'm just, like, actually good at bowling, so it's not really fun. It's more fun to be shitty at something. Thanks to the resub Trill.
Increases,
Maybe
and
I'll
the
do it
ball
tomorrow.
accelerates to the left. It hooks because of its spin, and the spin starts lining up with the direction
There's a
of
pic of you
travel
getting a
into
205
stage
on
3.
Reddit. Oh, I
Roll.
didn't check Reddit. Maybe it'd be on Reddit. 205 was on the lesser side of things. I could consistently get 210 and above. But I could never really go over 232. To go over 232, you needed like a pretty close to perfect game. That 232 was my 8 strikes in a row game. Let's see. What did you type in to find that pic of the 205? Thanks, Resub Armada. Thanks to Tier 1 Killer Light. Homemade bowling with dildo pins would be pretty cool. Thanks to the Resub Squeaker. Charlie is a god at bowling. Okay. God damn, has it really been 5 fucking years? And they didn't get any of my old videos? Obviously I was poopy. I think Andrew was Wiener. I don't remember who No Wiener was. But yeah, I mean, I was able to get absolutely nuts at bowling. Like, look at this game. Like, just take a look at this game. There's only one open frame. Frame 8 is my only open frame. Everything else is a strike or a spare. And it's a 205. So to get like a 300 or over 250 is a disgusting game. I know, I'm so gross at bowling. I really am, for some reason, super good at bowling. We'd go like every Friday, we'd drink a little, we'd toss a couple meat cannonballs down there, blow up the pins. It was fun. I haven't been since college, though. Pros average 230 to 250. They also play on different lanes. These are obviously public lanes, so they're oiled differently. I'm definitely not pro level.
Rolling without slipping as it
But just
barrels
pub
into
stomping?
pins.
Yeah.
Ideally, as close to that,
That I
60
can do.
degree angle as possible.
Like the ball starts on the left side of the lane, goes straight across almost rightmost, then hooks like at the last minute, rolls in there. So that's almost like a perfect shot, right? Like straight in the
Close.
pocket there.
Yeah, that's where you want to hit the pins, yeah. My very first game, it was ABC back then, American Bowling Congress. I filled out
1v1
the
Mr.
application,
Beast
the
bowling.
match,
Oh,
gave
do you
me
think I
cards,
could hustle
and I
Mr.
could.
Beast into that competition?
Yeah,
That'd be the
first game I
freest
bowled
money
was
of my
300.
life.
And they handed me $100.
Hey, Pete.
Too, and it was like, yeah, making money now. Actually, my first, my sixth, my ninth, my 13th, 17th, 20th were all 300 games. I had like 7 or 8 300s in my first year of men's league.
God
How do you
damn.
explain that?
To shoot 300, you have to get lucky somewhere along the line.
Not true. Or you could just be good like me. Though I've never got a 300.
Like that. It came in to hit the 1-3-5-9. And that's what we call the perfect shot.
I mean, you just keep hitting them.
Not me.
That's almost the identical shot.
Very
Look
close,
at that.
yeah.
That yellow and the purple, they're almost exactly
Easy
on top
resub
of each
Snoo
other.
Snoo, and the prime
Oh, it just goes a
Zelfinium,
little
and the
astray.
resub
That
Armpit
one,
and
the
Burial,
purple one
and
was
Wick,
just a
and
little
Tier 1
bit higher
Aria,
on
and the
the
resub
head pin.
Enchilada.
But it still hit the 1, 3, and the 5, and the 9. Can't get much better.
This type of throw is only possible because of the oil. If you try to throw a ball the same way on an unoiled lane,
Oh no.
it just doesn't work.
Can I actually ask you to bowl like you normally would, but on the dry lane?
All of a sudden, Pete's
I know
gonna
it's
lose the
crazy.
ability to
I
bowl
just wanna see
forever.
what like a normal shot would look like if there
You're
was
scaring
no
him.
oil there.
No oil, it's going to hit the lane and go in the left gutter.
That's what I want to see.
All right.
You're gonna throw it just like it's a
Don't do
regular
it, Pete.
Yeah.
It's like in Space Jam. It's gonna sap all of your ability out. Now he sucks.
Well, yeah, there's no oil on the lane, so the ball can't get down. As soon as it hits the lane, it's going to start hooking. You know, 'cause
Hey,
if
Tier
you
1
do
Snorlax
this,
and resub
who's going to want to bowl on
Mythala?
this?
So they want the oil.
Yeah, we need the oil.
What do you mean, Mago?
If we didn't have
You
oil,
paint?
this is what it would be. And
I just pulled up
nobody'd
one of my
have fun.
scores. I'm unironically gross at bowling.
This is
Well,
not
bowling
fun.
sucks. We don't want to do this.
For pro bowlers, the oil on the lane is a key part of the game.
Oh, wow. Wow, hey.
Do you like look at the oil? Or are you trying to scope it out, or are you just kind of guessing?
I usually don't look at the oil. I let my ball be the guide. You know, I know some guys that are, you know, they get down like this and they're looking.
Damn, he's flexible. He's nimble.
You know,
Goddamn.
they're seeing the same thing I do when I sit down and I go like that. Nothing. I see absolutely nothing.
Whether you can see
Amateur.
it or not, figuring out the condition of oil on the lane can make the difference between a strike and a miss. As the game wears on, the bowling balls move the oil around, pushing it further down the lane and stripping it off the most common paths.
God damn it, I want to
So
go bowling
players
now.
have
Son
to
of a
adjust to the
bitch.
changing conditions. Some people say left-handers have an advantage because, well, right-handers aren't playing on their side of the lane. At most bowling alleys, they use a pattern of oil that is thicker in the middle and thinner out toward the edges. This is a forgiving
There's
layout
the resub
because balls that drift
Rager
too far
and
out
Jabibi.
start to hook earlier,
Prime
while
Slim.
balls going straighter can continue down the lane for longer before making their turn into the pins. But for pro bowlers, the oil conditions vary.
This is what I was
Players
saying,
have to
yeah.
adjust their games to the conditions.
Some people seem to think that like league bowlers are better than they are, maybe, because they say like, oh, this league bowler can shoot 210, and I just saw a pro shoot 210.
That's why they call it league, because you bowl on the same shot every week. Because each week on tour, I'm bowling on a different condition, not the same condition every week. We have like cheetah, chameleon, scorpion, shark.
Stupid
one more.
names.
Bear, yeah.
But it's not just the oil on the lanes that has transformed bowling. It's also the balls themselves.
I knew all of
Bowling
this.
balls,
Like I said, I was fucking
maybe
nuts at
mid-70s,
bowling.
and
Did you
then
know
yellow dot,
Matt was
and then
actually
yellow
a
dot,
league bowler
plastic ball.
when
Then
he
they
was
came out with
a
urethane
fuck?
bowling
He must have been like
balls.
14 or
They won
15.
a lot of titles with the urethane stuff. And then they come out with the reactive resin bowl.
He was on a whole bowling
Reactive
team.
resin
He still
is
has his
just a
custom bowling
modified
balls.
polyurethane with a more porous surface, which gives it more grip in the oil. It's the most popular
Resub
surface
Robotic
or
and the
cover
gift sub.
stock for bowling balls today.
Nicodemus
Balls
and the
started
resub
out as
Squone.
perfect symmetrically weighted spheres, and when you go to a bowling
Is he better?
alley,
No, I'm
the
actually
house
better.
balls there are still just
When we used to
that.
bowl
But
together
when you drill
back in
holes
college,
the
I
ball,
was
you take
consistently
some
better.
weight out of one side. So to rebalance it, ball manufacturers added a small pancake weight on the same side as the holes. But then ball manufacturers got the idea they could add different weights inside the ball to improve their performance. You can have two balls that look identical from the outside, weigh exactly the same amount, and yet roll differently. If the mass is more concentrated around the axis of rotation, say you have a dense cylinder inside the
Bowling
ball,
stream win?
well,
I
then
wouldn't
it
stream
has
it, but
a
I'll film
lower
it.
moment of inertia. And this means for the same amount of energy input, it will spin
I don't think it'd be a
faster.
fun stream.
In
I don't
bowling,
like
they
streaming in
prefer to
public.
talk
I would
about
never
an
do it.
analogous concept, radius of gyration, or RG. If you were to concentrate the entire mass of the ball onto a hoop with the same moment of inertia, its radius would be the radius of gyration. So smaller radius of gyration just means lower moment of inertia, which translates into more rotation that a bowler can get on the ball.
Some people at lower rev rates, they go, well, it just spins faster. Like,
They're not even
That's kinda
talking about
crazy,
different
but-
bowling techniques. There's a two-handed
They're
technique
studying
that I
it.
would use sometimes if my wrist was
yeah,
kind of
it's like
hurting.
8%, you know,
And
for
there's a
every
professional who
0.05.
uses it. I forgot his name.
And so depending on what your rev
His
rate
name's
is,
like
it can be fairly
Dominic
significant.
Tiddlywink or
An
something. I
ability
don't
to
remember.
spin the balls faster
There's
gives
a cool
bowler
two-handed
the
technique.
ability to hook the ball more sharply further down the lane, giving them a better chance of achieving that 6-degree entry angle. What was amazing for me to learn is that the weight blocks in these balls aren't even
No,
centered.
so you go like
There's a
you
heavy
put two
side
fingers
and
in
a
the
lighter
top
side
and your
on
other hand
purpose.
on the other side,
can
and then you just
find and
rip
mark
it.
this side by letting the ball spin freely on a cushion of air
He's a prime
until
nanny.
it comes to rest heavy
Here,
side down.
I'll find the guy's name. He's like the only two-handed pro bowler. He's pretty good too. Yeah, there he is, Belmonte. It's not this guy, but this guy looks fucking awesome. He looks like a character I would have created in Skate 3. It's the other guy that he's playing against. That's him.
I like it a lot.
See, he's a two-handed bowler. I'd do that if my wrist was hurting.
This is why we were so jacked up for this one. Headpin goes to the sidewall, comes flying off, and
Man,
slams
thinking about it
his
now,
head and says,
I
"Hey,
was
where's that money
fucking
you owe me?"
gross.
Otherwise known as strike track 23.4 on the right lane. Hey, Rob, what's Australian for hand?
They showed me a great demonstration of
Here's
how
the
the
prime
position of
serene,
the
the
center of
resub
gravity can
shrikery.
affect the movement of the ball. When the center of mass is on the left side of the ball, it pulls in the same direction as the spin, helping the ball hook to the left into the pins.
Same
Here's the
exact
resub Nihao.
ball, same numbers, just different static imbalance, basically.
But here is
Whatever,
a flipped
nerd.
bowling ball.
Just let me
The
throw
center of
something
mass
heavy
is
down
on
there.
the right. Now the ball starts to hook into the left, but at the end something weird happens.
No.
The center of mass pulls it over to the right.
Here's the resub
This
silver.
effect is only really noticeable when the ball is thrown slowly. These days, there are tons of different weight blocks that go inside bowling balls, and they can be grouped into two categories.
Could you bowl at 200 right
symmetric
now?
and
I don't know. I
asymmetric.
haven't been in 6 years
For
or
all these
5
weight
years.
blocks, the minimum moment of inertia, or in bowling
I
terms,
think I
the
could.
smallest RG axis, is identified by a pin, which is visible on the outside of the ball. It will
Bowling
spin
isn't
most
something you just
easily
forget
about
how
this
to do.
axis. For the symmetric weight blocks, the ball doesn't change as you rotate it about
There's
this
your
axis.
mid-koi and tier 1
the
notch
maximum moment of inertia
notch Volk.
is rotating about any axis that passes through the
I have no idea,
equator
minus.
of the ball. I certainly didn't expect bowling balls to have asymmetric cores.
Thanks for 5 gift
but
subs,
it
Mac.
turns out
Good to
what
see you
look
again.
like
Hope you're doing
perfect
well.
spheres actually have 3 different principal axes of rotation: minimum moment of inertia, maximum moment of inertia, and intermediate moment of inertia.
So this right here is our dart code. This is one of our asymmetric balls that has a rad 4 core in it. So this has a preferred
Whatever that means. All right, give me the
What we're
dart
gonna do now is
core.
We're going to put it on the determinator.
You know what?
to show how it actually will
I'll
spin.
start the Moist
No
Esports
matter how
Bowling
we
League,
position it on
and it'll just be me and Matt.
So you spin them up on this machine until
I'm
they
the Moist
settle into
Esports
a way
poker
they like
player
to
and
spin,
bowler.
what the bowlers call their preferred spin axis, or PSA. But why would you want a ball to be an asymmetric top? Well, professional bowlers drill their balls so that at launch, the axis of rotation is somewhere between the minimum and maximum moment of inertia.
I just use house balls.
And as a result,
None of this
as
matters
the ball
to me.
goes down the lane spinning, it precesses like a gyroscope. The axis of
Thanks, you said
rotation
Brave Booty and
rotates
Misfit.
around, causing the point of contact between the
Oh, sweet.
ball
Well,
and
thanks,
the lane
Sean.
to change.
Hope everything's alright.
This precession means that different parts of the ball contact the lane. And you can see this when the ball comes back by the spread out lines of oil
What
on the
poundage
ball's
do pro
surface.
bowlers use?
Bowlers call this track flare.
Does
and
anyone
it's
know? I don't
desirable
remember.
because it means once the ball hits the
Is
unoiled
it Prime
part of the
Michael?
lane, it gets traction faster and hooks more
14 to
dramatically back
16?
the
Okay.
pins. This is
I
what
use
asymmetric
16
cores are
exclusively.
used for. They have larger differences
15
between
to
their
16.
moments of
16
inertia
at the
in
bowling
different
alley has
axes,
it.
or what bowlers call RG differential, which makes the ball precess. If you spin a ball around its minimum or maximum
That's the
moment of
secret.
inertia,
As long as it's
it
heavy, you'll
precesses
just blow that
less,
shit
and
up.
There's much less flare, meaning oil builds up on one part of the ball. This reduces the friction over the dry part of the lane, so the ball hooks less.
See the oil there very faintly, but it's pretty much next to
Thanks,
the
there's some
finger,
Nubinator.
right next to the thumb, and it just continues.
I know Kenny versus
to be
Spinny.
right
Can't
that
click
way,
links, but I
all
know
the
it.
way around the ball.
But
Thanks for
how
some Gavin
important
and
are
Dylan.
each of these factors in actually getting the best shot? Well, the U.S. Bowling Congress, or USBC, the governing body that sets all rules and regulations for U.S. bowling, they did a landmark study in 2008 trying
Thanks,
to
you get some
tease
Callum.
out the most significant factors that affect ball motion. In order to determine the impact of each factor, they had to make sure the throws were identical. So they turned to Harry. At the time,
Harry!
the most consistent bowler in the world. He is a robot.
Oh.
Bowling robots are designed to be able to throw hundreds of identical shots.
Imagine being
In
a
fact, the
robot that can
Pearl,
only bowl.
Harry's successor in 2011, actually lost to Chris Barnes when he debuted, in part because his throws were so consistent. He wore away the oil in a single part of the lane, so his shots hooked too much. The people managing him did their best to adjust to the oil conditions, but few people are Chris Barnes. The USBC ball motion study
Thanks,
used
Reese,
Harry to
Dark
throw
Puppy.
thousands of shots with different bowling balls, and they found that the center of gravity affected the ball motion relatively little, around the same level as environmental factors like room temperature or humidity. RG and RG differential, essentially the moment of inertia and difference
Thanks,
between
Reese,
maximum
Ethan.
and minimum moments of inertia, that affected the ball motion significantly more. But the factor that affected ball motion the most was the surface of the ball. The top 5 individual
Thanks, Tier
factors
1
were the
Lakitsi.
amplitude of surface roughness, meaning the height of microscopic spikes on the ball, the coefficient of friction with an oiled lane, the surface roughness by spacing, that is the distance between microscopic spikes, the coefficient of friction with a dry lane, and how quickly the ball surface absorbs oil. Now, bowlers recognize just how important the surface of their ball is. They
Yeah, that's why
pay
they
close
like
attention to what it's made of
coddle
and
it.
how it's finished.
And
Rougher
rub it
finishes
down.
give the ball more traction in the oil and get it to start hooking earlier. This is useful for long oil patterns and slower
Thanks,
axis
Reese,
rotation.
Smeg Magician.
Sometimes maybe I'll go to a little more sanded ball or a little more ball with surface to get it into a roll quicker for me because they use a lot of oil.
These two shots are thrown identically. The only difference is the ball on the left has a rougher surface. Rough surfaces act like winter tires, helping to dig into the oil and give the ball traction. They also act as badly as winter tires on a clean road on a totally dry lane. They actually have less friction because their rougher exteriors mean that less surface area is touching the lane.
These pro bowlers are
You can
pretentious.
get many
I mean, they've
different levels
mastered the
of
sport.
smoothness up to a near
They
mirror
they just
shine.
they're knowledgeable. I
This
wouldn't
is
say
better
it's pretentious.
For short oil
They're just
patterns to prevent the
knowledgeable.
ball hooking too much too early. Ultimately, pro bowlers carry many different balls to each competition.
I'm not afraid to change balls in the middle of a game. If I go to a game and I've got like 8 spare, all right, it's time to change balls.
Yeah.
So now I got to find the right ball to
Thanks
get
for
down
some
the
merch
lane
house.
again and find the pocket, which usually I have a pretty good idea.
So they select their ball a little like a golfer selects their club to suit the conditions. But does all this tech actually make people better bowlers?
Nope.
Well, over the last 20 years, average scores have increased by more than 5 points. Plus, the number of perfect 300 games bowled per year per 1,000 bowlers has increased dramatically since the 1980s. This graph shows the
That's a
year
fucking
over
lie.
year.
I don't believe it.
In 1976,
It's wrong.
soaker balls chemically softened to absorb oil and hook more, were banned, and there was a dip in perfect games.
What?
But the same year, a new rubber ball was introduced, the Brunswick LT48,
Thanks, Prime.
and more 300s
Revenge.
were hit in the years that followed. In 1991, reactive resin balls were introduced, and there was another significant jump. Now, obviously, there were other improvements in equipment and natural variability, but some of the big changes do correlate with the introduction of new ball technology. So, yes, the wild bowling ball
I
technology
think it's not the technology,
anything
it's
to do
just
with
us
surface,
being
significantly
stronger.
affect ball motion
We throw heavy
and your
objects
bowling
faster now.
But ball motion is likely minutely affected by hundreds of other factors. Even the color of the ball can have a small impact. A USBC study in 2016 found that different pigments absorb oil at different rates. Bowling is the sport of reinvention. It goes back to ancient Egypt, but has transformed many times. Now, when you get up to throw a single
There's
shot, you have to
resub
think about
Ninja
the
and Lurks.
oil pattern on the lane, the stage of the game and how the pattern has shifted, the weight block in your ball, whether you want symmetric or asymmetric, which axis you'll spin it about to affect precession, where the center of mass is to pull the ball to the left or the right, where the cover stock is made of, and whether it's rough or smooth, all to make a shot that skids, hooks, and rolls to the pins between boards 17 and 18.5 at as close to a 6-degree angle as you can muster. Now do that again 12 times in a row, and you have a perfect game.
Fuck yeah. Well, I want to go bowling. I don't know if that was like the point of the video, but I definitely want to get back out there on the lanes. Is that the only picture from my old Snapchat? No one saved any of the videos or anything? I'm actually fucking offended. God damn it. What a fucking shame. Thanks to resub Leche and Zephyrd. There's a new Slap Mountain. I can't decide if I want to watch it tonight or not. Thanks to the resub Tay. Stupid horror YouTube videos. I love shitty horror. Do you have a suggestion? Actually, just save it for a second. Let me go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. I'm back. You already said that. Have you ever seen Goth IHOP? Goth IHOP? I don't know. Let's see. You buy a Goth GF at IHOP? Is it like a machinima or something? There's a tier 1 Eins Aneth and the tier 1 Alt Food Review. It's a meme? I'll pass. There's a Prime Fantasy True Horror Story Review. What? Oh, True Horror Stories POV. I think this is what you wanted, right? You said The Chase. This? Is your sub Zakashi?
Allah, kucing keluar lagi. Astagfirullah, degil lah. Ricky, meow.
Is your sub Potty Spotter?
Ricky, meow.
Talk to it like you would a human. They like that. Say, Ricky, present yourself, please. Stop with this tomfoolery. Oh, I thought it was the cat calling.
I tahu. I ni lah kejar budak-budak tadi. Tadi Ricky lari keluar. Tak, agaknya lain-lain lah tu. Ni yang tengah kejar ni, yang dengan miau-miau tadi.
What am I watching, man? Oh my god. Holy shit. Ricky! I will say though, I actually respect the effort that went into this. Unironically, this is one of the better ones. Like, it looks like it's all kind of done in one pretty smooth take. Look, they even brought it back over here. This isn't poorly made. I was expecting this to be a lot more, like, embarrassingly done. No one blinks that fucking slow? Yeah, I don't know, I couldn't tell you. Oh god. It's already in the house? He left the door open for too long! All things considered, she's handling this very well. Oh, it's hiding in the shitter! Thanks, Resub Amrust. It's going to present a little towel for her feet. It wasn't the guy! I mean, you should reply to the text message. Then he can come up here and meet you. Thanks to resub Fearless and Slamabang. Did it get her? Was that it? Damn. Nuts. The History of the World According to Ancient Aliens. My dad loves that show. My dad loves this guy in particular. Like that goofball everyone makes fun of, the aliens guy. Water goes in, water goes out. Only explanation is aliens. My dad loves that guy. He's like, Charlie, this guy knows his shit. And I'm like, Dad, that guy literally doesn't even have a degree in anything. He's just an actor. And he's like, yeah, but he knows his shit. Thanks, Resub Costanza and Jack Slice.
There are questions
Resub
about the
KJ.
universe. Are we alone? How were the pyramids truly built? What are they keeping secret in Area 51? So many questions, and Ancient Aliens has none of these answers.
Disagreed. It's got all the right answers.
They had sex with wonderful earthly females.
Yes, it's 2021, and I'm talking about Ancient Aliens 10 years after the joke died.
My dad still watches it. This
We
is
all
relevant to
collectively
me.
agreed as a society that this show was the equivalent of your drunk uncle ranting during Thanksgiving dinner. We moved on as a species.
Is there some
hand
wild
in hand
juniper?
agreeing to forget this show existed. So how come it's still airing new episodes after 16 seasons? Who is still watching this? How does
My
this
dad.
have enough content to discuss aliens that are ancient for
I think my
almost
dad is the only
200
one still
episodes?
watching this.
And we all know the hot takes the series
They're like catering the episodes to him.
Ancient aliens.
Like, hey Charles, I know you'll like this one.
And sonic levitation technology help early humans build the ancient wonders of the world. Moses and the Israelites acquired a supernatural source of energy at Mount Sinai. They
Thanks,
did
Resub
so in a
Asvi.
way that was designed to tap into the Earth's natural energy.
And these are not simply one-offs or suggestions. Every implied theory, every question, might as well be replaced with, yes, this did actually happen. It's like me saying there could be tiny pink goblins underneath my bed. Mainstream scientists say that goblins don't unplug my phone charger during the night, but my niche community of goblin enthusiasts think otherwise. And here's the evidence.
Good example.
Instead of goblins, these chuckleheads say aliens. It's a secret lore spanning the entire history of the Earth. that
Well,
only
some people
these
just aren't ready
ancient
for the
astronaut
truth.
Theorists have uncovered.
That's what
So
I'm
what
getting
is this
here.
forbidden knowledge
He
when
couldn't handle it.
summarized in a neat package? The real history that only these fantastic men have pieced together. I had to know, and I knew others needed to know as well. So I strapped myself in and watched every single Ancient Aliens episode,
What?
taking notes along the way to piece together a timeline of the world
No
that this
fucking
show
way.
believes actually happened. So prepare yourself, as you may not look at the universe in the same way.
How many episodes? That has to be over 1,000 episodes. Oh, I'm looking it up real quick. Ancient Aliens. It's 222 episodes. Okay, it's a lot less than I thought it was. Tiana watches more than that of One Piece in a week. I thought it was well over 1,000, I really did.
Again.
There's the bitch Ramon.
Despite watching every single episode, I still don't know how all of this started. And for that, we have Knowing Better, one of the first experts in this field.
Ancient alien or ancient astronaut theory didn't really become a thing until Eric von Daniken's book, Chariots of the Gods, which came out in 1968. And it really took off after the documentary in 1970. While studying the Bible at his Christian boarding school, Daniken noticed that some of the prophet's heavenly visits could be misinterpretations of extraterrestrial encounters. With that in mind, he started looking at other mythologies. Rather quickly, he noticed that the Sumerians, Hindus, Chinese, and even the Aztecs had similar stories. And this alien intervention explained a lot about their culture.
I think
Why
there's
does every
definitely life
civilization
out
have
there
a flood
somewhere.
myth and tales about dragons and giants?
I've
Why
never
did they
been
all
here,
build
though.
pyramids? And how could these primitive people possibly know more about the stars than the Europeans? I'm not saying they learned it from aliens, but they must have learned it from somewhere.
So now you know what we're dealing with. A very sane and reasonable alternative to mainstream history and science, and religion, and reason, is what a mainstream historian would say. But
Thanks for
here,
Prime, Danny.
we're all ancient astronaut theorists. So where to begin? It's simple. It all began 450,000 years ago. Aliens came across Earth and discovered Neanderthals, along with the other Homo species. Earth was the prized planet. Not only was it rich in resources such as water, but also with gold. Gold is valuable, you know?
Yep, my
And
dad
aliens
always
wanted
talked
it.
about how
But what
aliens
to
want
do?
our gold.
It's not like they traveled across dimensions.
He made it sound like they were like leprechauns from space.
Strip mine the planet.
No, you silly livers. No!
They have a better idea. Create an artificial slave species in their image. The first two humans were placed into what we would call the Garden of Eden, but really this was a genetic playground for the aliens. Yet not all was well. Some aliens wished to give humans intelligence, and this was interpreted as the snake in the garden. This started a civil war within the alien
Exhibits Blue
civilization.
Cow.
One which humans interpreted as a war between good and evil across all cultures. This was depicted in the Hindu scripts or in the Bible. Satan was actually a roguelike alien who gave humans the first spark of true intelligence.
And this isn't just Satan. We see the same story repeated
Satan
across
was an
religions.
alien?
There are numerous examples of
Interesting.
higher powers giving mankind some knowledge or tool they weren't supposed to have. Remember Prometheus giving humanity the gift of fire? It's also a common theme in mythology for the gods to split into factions over what knowledge humans should or shouldn't have, or alien factions in this case.
Humans were just left alone during this war and bred with other hominid species. This mixing with ape genes was the
I hope you're doing well,
original
Alex.
sin
That's great to
of
hear.
the human race, and aliens
Thank you.
struck early humanity down in punishment. The other hominids were destroyed as the aliens decided to wipe out the world of impure human species, which was also known as the Great Flood. Noah, being half alien, was deemed worthy to continue the human species by the aliens, bringing 2 of every animal in a spaceship to survive until the destruction was over.
Pretty good deal.
After this, humanity was restarted in ancient Sumeria, where the first civilization was built. It was here that the aliens ruled as god kings, either instructing kings to rule by their
Is it
hand
tier 1 Shadow
or
Ninja?
outright ruling themselves. The humans had no capacity to understand what they were witnessing. The technology was just so advanced, outside of their comprehension, they could only describe such alien feats as the power of gods. Humans were created as a slave race. Even though they had intelligence, they had no control of themselves. Every invention, every single action taken in the growth of civilization was taught by some great outside force. After this origin for humanity, mankind settled down into various civilizations across the world. We now have the ancient aliens' Age of Heroes. You know a mythology? You know a hero? It's all of them. Every tale of Hercules,
Is an alien?
Gilgamesh, Beowulf, Chinese dragon gods, and even Aztec Quetzalcoatl. It's all real. Your values may be shaken or destroyed, but that's okay. They should be. Ancient Aliens is a staunchly atheist show after all. It has no time for evidence that isn't based on science or logic.
Is it possible by reaching this altered state of consciousness
that evidence of extraterrestrial intervention in the construction and placement of these incredible structures
to create a great flood?
Humans simply couldn't understand
Alright,
the
I'm on
technology they were
board.
seeing. and so they worshipped their alien overlords as gods. This logic transfers to every single religion. For the Greeks and Romans, they would be living on Mount Olympus.
I just kind of want to watch
Zeus
highlights of
himself
ancient
was leader
aliens
of the
now.
aliens with his spaceship plopped on top of the mountain. His massive energy
Is it
weapon
tier 1 bets
misthought
FR?
of as a lightning bolt. Egyptian gods were alien experiments, and Egyptian pharaohs may have been aliens themselves. Look at that head. No refuting that. Even Yahweh, heaven, hell, angels, demons, it's all aliens. The aliens wouldn't stop right there though. This was the age of heroes after all. And what were the heroes of old mythology? Half man, half god.
Poseidon fell in love with a beautiful human girl, and he made her pregnant.
Aliens bred with human women. And yes, this
That's
does
a beautiful
include
story.
the Virgin Mary. Fucking hell. Aliens overrule all human societies across the ancient world, including Atlantis, which was a real place. Aliens come up from the ground in holes between dimensions, teaching humans how to build anything. Buildings,
Thanks, Resub
stone
Jester.
monuments, dirt mounds, and most
Thank you for that,
importantly,
man.
pyramids. But why? Why would an intergalactic
I don't
alien
know, Eddie.
civilization be interested in humans
Thank you for the
building
bits.
temples? Well, ancient astronaut theorists
This is
have
Puma
a few,
Punku. That was
many
Puma Punku.
theories. First, aliens wanted to prop humanity up, and the best way to improve them is to teach them how to build monuments, either by giving them the knowledge of how to do so, or building the monuments themselves. The second is for blood sacrifice. Why were so many ancient civilizations into sacrificing for their gods? It's simple. The gods told them to. They wanted human blood. The third is to have every monument on Earth be specifically built on areas of geomagnetic significance. As you see, the entire globe has a secret geomagnetic grid that, if harnessed, can be used by the aliens to either fuel their space empire or simply to travel across the globe faster. Yeah.
Thanks a bits, jukebox.
That might have been given to us by an alien.
These brick and stone structures have the ability to manipulate magnetic fields and even gravity in such a way that it powers and
Aliens very
benefits
well may have
alien
created anime.
civilizations. Humans never
I haven't seen
actually
enough
built
ancient aliens yet.
anything of their own will. Humanity does not have the agency nor intelligence to do anything.
Okay, humans did do things of their own free will. They just received occasional guidance from extraterrestrial powers to guide humanity on its path. A little intergalactic inspiration never hurt anybody.
The wheel, aqueducts, smelting of steel for swords, even language itself, all were taught by aliens for reasons.
Thanks to give
Reasons
Sublimin.
outside our puny little minds. It's all
Or
part of the plan. After all the
Melangelo?
creation and sexy times were over, the aliens were content in what they had done. They plopped
Thanks for
humans
some
into
noodles
the world
and
and left
Hua.
humans alone to continue on by themselves. Their extraterrestrial influence and monuments left to be misinterpreted by mainstream historians who believed ancient people could actually construct pyramids by themselves. Thus, the history of ancient aliens comes to an end. The ancient astronaut theory in a nutshell. Wait, there's how many more seasons? The first century comes around and
tier 1
aliens are
Koro?
still on Earth. Eventually, the old gods leave and the new gods arrive. The aliens have been meddling in the Middle East for some time. Jerusalem sees a lot of alien interference, like on the Temple Mount, which acts as a portal with aliens. And in this region of the world, it's going to be quite
Well, then,
important in the coming century.
can we use it?
But what changes this? Constantine saw a cross in the sky, and after winning a battle, Christianity was legalized in the empire. But was that really a cross? Oh, you know what it is. Aliens stay around to dabble and influence wherever they feel like. A
These
city
are
in
some
India is
cosmic
nuked
and
off the map
whoop-ass.
by aliens. Mohammed's journey to Jerusalem was just a little thing for fun. Joan of Arc meets with an alien who gives her a sword and tells her to go defend France against the English. And for the English, King Arthur, who was a real human being, not only was able to pull the sword from the stone because of alien biometric technology, but he was
Oh.
even helped out by the Lady in the Lake, or Alien of the Lake, who handed him Excalibur, a high-tech alien weapon. Other than appearing as brief religious images, aliens didn't really
Well
do
then.
much on the record for about 1500 years, mostly just overseeing the great job humanity was doing with those Mongol invasions, the Viking raids, and the Black Plague. They just do little things throughout that time to continue altering humanity.
The Black Plague in particular was engineered by an extraterrestrial we know as the Grim Reaper. In every depiction of the plague we can find, there's a cloaked figure floating above all the dying humans. This wasn't the angel
thank you
of
for
death.
the raid again,
This was an
JoJo. I
alien
appreciate
being.
it.
Thank you.
Makes you tier
It's
1
kind
bread
of like
god
when
and
you're in a
resub Brad.
City game and just
Hope you had a
wanna
great stream,
add some
JoJo.
natural disasters to mix stuff up.
Thank
That
you
was
so much.
until Da Vinci. That's right.
He was
the
an alien.
Renaissance, the resurgence of culture long
No
lost
doubt.
in Europe. Aliens did that, reintroducing technology or new technology directly into the head of Leonardo da Vinci and the great thinkers of the Renaissance. They gave him ideas of medicine, and even this tank thing that just so happens to look like something else. Christopher Columbus sees a glimpse of an alien ship while sailing to the New World, and we all know how influential the aliens were in the Americas. All the pre-Columbian civilizations of the Americas have been interacting with aliens for centuries. But we're not talking about America, we're talking about America. That's right, the founders knew aliens existed too. Jefferson, Washington, they all knew. They even put an intergalactic symbol of peace in Washington, D.C. to prove our alliance with our alien overlords. You really thought aliens were done altering our planet? We're just in time.
I
for
bet
the
aliens were
Industrial
good friends with
Revolution.
American
It
founding
happened pretty
fathers.
fast. The aliens were planting some pretty naughty ideas of the combustion
I'm learning so much.
and electricity. The only way us modern humans would ever know how to do anything is by
Thanks,
alien
Resub
intervention.
Callahan.
Hell, the aliens even go to the Wild West to be seen by cowboys. Maybe even meet them.
Why did aliens give us a taint? Yeah, that's a good question. Why did they give us a taint?
Any educational content
Doesn't serve a
must
purpose.
occasionally require sponsors to keep the lights on. In one episode, it's sponsored by the hit 2011 film Cowboys and Aliens. One can only imagine what it's like to shamelessly promote a product while also theorizing outlandish history.
Thank you, Context Dizzy, thank you. Unrelated, this video was sponsored by NordVPN. Oh no,
Nice.
it's the ETIP Stealers, an elite group of underground
Perfected these things? Or is it...
Wow, those last 19 centuries sure were fun. I wonder what the next century will bring.
Is it possible that the Nazis perfected these things? Or is it possible that the aliens looked like Nazis?
Oh!
How bizarre would that be?
That's a good
Alright,
point.
I see where this is going.
Interesting. Interesting.
I think you get the shtick by now. Aliens did everything. Just everything.
Thanks,
Any
Resub Ugly
important
Mouse.
influential thing that your average 7th grader would know about, the aliens did it. By the 20th century, they not only had met with Nazis and perhaps taught them to create a portal between time and space, but they also taught humans how to build nuclear weapons, even though they warned humans a decade later not to use nuclear weapons. Name any event, any situation, any person or place ever, and it was involved with aliens. The Spanish flu, aliens. Any US president, they all know. Antarctica has a hole in the middle of it that houses an alien civilization.
Oh,
I watched
well,
16
let's just go
seasons
there.
of this show, just for this bit. And you know what? It wasn't worth it. I wanted to uncover every wacky claim,
Disagree.
every bizarre take, and after pulling back that curtain, you know what I found? Nothing. The most generic idea you have of ancient aliens without watching a full season is that they claim anything and everything is involved with aliens. It just takes a history book or a religious book and scratches out key figures with aliens.
Yeah, but they
And that's the
prove
point.
it.
There's a reason why Ancient Aliens is still on the air after 16 seasons. All they have to do is simply look back on anything that has ever happened and simply copy-paste E.T. into the mix. You do this for 10 episodes a pop, and you never have to worry about content a day in your life. And even with literally everything at their fingertips, the entire series probably only focuses on like 30 claims. In just the first 3 seasons alone, the Bermuda Triangle is brought up 10 times. And it's not just in passing. They repeat full segments with a reworded script.
Well, yeah,
and
that's the
different
History
footage.
Channel in a
They
nutshell.
don't just plagiarize history, they plagiarize themselves.
Okay, that's not fair. Ancient Aliens explores many different angles. Take the Ark of the Covenant. Was it a communications device so Moses could contact God? Was it a food or mana source? What about a bomb? The stories say it was radioactive. It could be any of these things, and we discuss those possibilities in multiple different
Interesting.
episodes.
Oh, you're still here. Well, that's a little awkward. Okay, well, even with that said, that just sounds like an excuse to reuse old content.
We just like to explore all of the possibilities for each topic.
Ah, yes. Topics like gods and aliens, angels and aliens, aliens and monsters, aliens and sacred places, aliens and deadly cults, aliens, gods and heroes, aliens and the creation of man, the Viking gods, magic of the gods, the Satan conspiracy, aliens in the Lost Ark, faces of the gods, aliens and superheroes, and this is just up to season 10. Anything a god was ever said to do in any religious text, aliens did it. Which brings me to the ultimate core of why this show exists, and what the ancient astronaut theory really is. Ancient Aliens is not a history show using
It's
science
entertainment,
fiction
baby!
elements. It doesn't even take elements from science fiction. Ancient Aliens is a religion. Its gods are aliens. Aliens so powerful and influential they control the every whim of mortal man, and their great deeds cannot even be fathomed by us, except for a few enlightened individuals. And most importantly, denouncing any gods other than their own. All the gods that ever existed or were depicted were not simply a part of mythology. They were real physical beings, extraterrestrials. So Ancient Aliens goes through any religious text that has ever existed and reads it as literally as possible. Clearly, the gods do not exist as they were depicted, so the only other explanation would be alien contact. Ancient Aliens isn't just
I believe it.
It's creationism with extra steps. In fact, the only thing keeping it from really being creationism is saying dinosaurs and humans lived together. Oh, come on.
Might ancient depictions of dinosaurs really be proof that humans and dinosaurs did, at one time, coexist?
I've been saying that for years. It's about time someone blows the lid open. Thanks to Tier 1 Mr. Mao.
On to season 16, you can tell that nobody really wants to be there anymore. I don't want to be here. It's repeated the same evidence of Bermuda Triangle, Stonehenge, and Mayan temples for so long.
What about
but
Puma
it continues
Punku?
on because it's easy money. History Channel is a dying network in part because it decided to promote half-baked mythology like this show, or Pawn Stars.
You know I can't eat donuts. I gotta have lean protein.
He is on a diet. We shouldn't be eating the stuff around him.
All right, that's okay. You can't have none, chump.
I'm not sweating this.
But now it's made its deal with the alien devil, and it's tied to its most profitable
Thanks
show.
to resub. Stupun?
That's just mainstream history and archaeology closing your mind to the possibilities. Keep believing whatever it is they taught you in school. I'll keep knowing the truth.
Alright, well, better wrap this up. Since Ancient Aliens, or the ancient astronaut theory,
Thanks
is
to
pretty
resub
much a
Steel,
religion,
or
like
Steve.
any religion, it has to have a good end-of-the-world story, right? Oh boy, does it. It's just the apocalypse. The literal, biblical apocalypse. 4 horsemen, the battle between heaven and hell, Sam has to become the devil, but you know, the alien versions of that. 2 warring alien factions come to Earth to fight over the ultimate fate of the planet and mankind. The world is destroyed as all the calamities you can
Why would
ever
they fight
imagine
over us?
occur. Mankind,
To steal
which
our
was
anime,
never
maybe?
in control of itself, is destroyed by 2 alien factions none of us even know exist except for these guys on this History Channel show. We should have known, and it's all set to happen on December 21st, 2012.
I love Ancient Aliens. If my dad was still awake right now, I'd call him. Let him talk to you guys about Puma Punku. Actually, I've done that on stream before, haven't I? I feel like we've done this before. Haven't seen this video, but I feel like I've absolutely called him to talk about Puma Punku on stream before. He loves to bring up Puma Punku. It's about in a nutshell, Puma Punku is this weird place in Peru where they have like all of these really precise cut stone and like H-shaped stone that's all like extremely precise, and my dad's like, the only explanation is the aliens gave them lasers. This is laser carved stuff. Modern human beings can't do this, Charlie. That's what he always says. Anytime I bring it up, he's like, yeah, just look up Puma Punku. Thanks to the 5 gift subs, Lackman. And the resub, Cassidy and Smalls. Geography, now Belgium. Maybe. I want to see some more Ancient Aliens. Ancient Aliens, I can't watch any History Channel highlights on stream, god damn it. Oh, there's only History Channel uploads, son of a bitch. Unlucky. Thanks to resub loves by ear. Their geography now, Belgium. Jesus. This?
Let me tell you a little story. Once upon a time, France had a son named Wallonia, and the Netherlands had a son named Flanders. One day, a bunch of crazy stuff happened in Europe.
Born again
yada, yada,
savage.
yada. After all the crazy stuff subsided,
There's some
Flanders
Walter.
was like, "Hey, Wallonia, yeah, I'm gonna move out of my parents' place, and I got this new rad apartment, but I kind of need another guy to help me pay for the rent. I don't know, you're kind of a cool guy, I guess. Would you like to be my roommate? Yeah, sure, I guess. Why not? But just for the record, I don't speak any Dutch. Oh, no worries, I don't speak any French." And that's how Belgium became a country, kind of.
Nice, that was concise.
Hey everybody, I'm your host Paul Barbato.
Thanks to
all
Prime
probably at least
Euphoria.
heard of the name Belgium, and if you have, congrats! That's not enough. Let's dissect the flag.
Thanks to 5 gives some Smoky Dread.
First of all, the flag of Belgium looks like the flag of Germany knocked over to the left side, but just keep in mind that the color sequence is black, yellow, red, not black, red, yellow. Also, the flag has an unusual proportion of 13 to 15, making it almost a square. The flag's colors are directly correlated to the country's coat of arms, the black representing the shield and determination, the yellow representing the lion and generosity, and the red representing the lion's claws and tongue and the crown, as well as bravery and strength. Speaking of strength, you're going to need a lot of it to understand this next part.
I'm pretty strong.
If you're gonna
I can
learn
lift some
anything
weights.
about Belgium, the one thing you have to understand is how the country is split up. This is very important, so pay attention, Brandon!
What? Azerbaijan? Yeah.
Dude, that was like 8 episodes ago! First of all, Belgium is located in Europe, right under the Netherlands and north.
I knew that from GeoGuessr.
Of the North Sea next to the English Channel. In the most fundamental way I can put this, Belgium is divided into 3 regions. The Dutch, or the Flemish-speaking North region, called
Is there some
Flanders, the
Gangford?
South, or French Walloon region, called Wallonia, and the capital, Brussels, acts in itself as a 3rd region and functions in a completely bilingual way. Most of the people in Brussels speak both Dutch and French. However, French is a little bit prevalent.
I gotta be honest, I don't care about geography. That's probably the thing I care about, like the subject I care about least in the world is geography. The rise and fall of emo. The rise and fall of emo. Okay.
Hey!
Emo's not dead.
I'm Raven, your acid bath princess of the darkness.
This is a classic.
Has there ever been a teenage subculture as reviled and misunderstood as the humble emo? For a time, it was a catch-all term of derision, reserved for anyone who wore black, listened to My Chemical Romance, and exhibited some worrying self-roping tendencies. But all that moping and the music that inspired it actually has a complex history. And to understand it fully, we have to go back to the beginning.
When aliens
While no one
created
knows
us.
the name of emo's Patient Zero, they were likely a member of the Washington hardcore punk scene in the 1980s. Bands like Minor Threat, Fugazi, and State of Alert were producing 3-chord
I've never heard of them.
for small, devoted audiences. And like their emo descendants, these punks wore black, cut their hair with industrial lawn equipment, and took themselves very seriously. But these punks were also deeply political, even expressly anarchist, like these 2 specimens who decry the woes of capitalism while hanging out in a mall, with none other than a somehow still very old Bernie Sanders.
Wait, that's Bernie Sanders?
What does it say, or does it mean anything? Or
What the fuck?
It's just
basically
Where's
saying,
his emo phase?
To heck with society.
Yeah, to heck with capitalism. Ronald Reagan can go fudge himself in his bunghole. By 1985, the DC punk scene was in need of a makeover, as it had caught a well-earned reputation for being moronically violent, mostly owing to the fact that their concerts looked like a cross between a Black Friday stampede and an Indian train carriage.
I've always hated mosh pits and walls of death.
Call it slamming.
It's really
Some people
embarrassing,
call
to
it
be honest.
boogaloo, and some call it the skin.
Like to watch.
But
it's probably fun
I
to
just
be
call it
in.
dancing because that's normally what you're doing. They just call this more or less a slam. It's just keep
Whoa!
keep moving your arms and stuff.
During what was known as Revolution
cool.
Summer, bands like Rites of Spring and Embrace offered a new direction for the genre. These artists wrote more introspective lyrics and rejected the scene's political posturing for a whinier, more emotional perspective. Thrasher magazine called this style emo-core, but even then it was meant as a disparaging
Thanks, resub Vixian.
Emo-core must be the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Emotional hardcore. As if hardcore wasn't emotional to begin with.
This would set a precedent that would follow the emo plague all the way into its heyday, with bands constantly uncomfortable with being labelled as sad sacks screaming about their feelings. Despite this, the post-hardcore
Yeah, but that's great.
emo
We
virus
love to
spread
scream
from
about
coast to
feelings.
coast over the next decade, giving birth to a brood of ear-assaulting sub-genres. There were the radio-friendly incel jams of nerd rock. There was screamo music, the official soundtrack to school shootings everywhere. And of course, there was pop punk, emo's
What?
fun-loving cousin, whose close association
I don't
with
know
the
about
genre
that
was
last
also
one.
undoing. But it was bands like Sunny Day Real Estate and Jawbreaker that charted the course to what emo would become, producing punk-adjacent hits with pleasing guitar melodies and lyrics dripping with personal drama. It wasn't really until 2001 where the iconic image of emohood solidified like bacon grease on the oven floor of popular culture. Jimmy Eat World released the middle
Hey,
on their
Jimmy Eat
self-financed
World!
album,
They weren't
American
emo.
Bleed, a
They were
huge
emo?
mainstream hit that was as irritating
That was an
as
emo
it was
band?
Billboard friendly. Suddenly, record executives realized that emos were more than just basement-dwelling dweebs, and were in fact a lucrative growth market.
Now we're cooking. This is the emo I remember.
As broadband
Not fucking
internet
Jimmy
connections
Eat
became more
World.
widespread, the irritating screech of a
That's just
dial-up
mainstream
connection was
radio
replaced by
shit
the
from back in
equally
the
grating
day.
sound of teenagers expressing themselves.
Real emo is
Emo
like
was
Broken
arguably the first
Side.
subculture to truly spread through the internet. Websites like LiveJournal and MySpace acted as the sweaty public toilet door handles, accelerating emo's bubonic burst into mainstream culture. Emo fans would plaster
Thanks,
their
Resub Legend
profile
Hero.
with lyrics from their favourite bands, create fan sites, and communicate with other people who like to play noughts and crosses on their forearms. But most of all, these online spaces were responsible for disseminating what became known as the iconic emo look. The emo
That was
look
actually
centered
Taylor
on few
Swift.
necessities and tons of optional extras. But if one is to truly understand the emo, one must become the emo. Look, I'll admit, I went too far on this one, but I believe in committing to
Looks
it.
pretty cool,
And that's
actually.
what emo's about, you know? Committing. To looking
Looking
like
good.
a fucking idiot. Eye makeup was a must. Slathered
It kinda looks
above
like the kind of guy that would
and
offer you a really
to
shitty
bring
deal
out the
for your
skull
soul.
that lives inside all of our face meat. Black jeans that looked like they were painted on were also a must, and could be accessorized with a studded belt, which could be worn anywhere on the body, provided it was at a 45-degree angle. Black lipstick was optional, but it was encouraged. A fashion choice which only ever reminds me of this line from The Sopranos.
Look like a Puerto Rican whore. Make me sick. So?
Band t-shirts were also very important, but anything black would suffice. There are also these separate arm sleeve things which make it look like your arms are wearing lingerie. Another optional extra was turning your lower lip into a playground for bacteria, as well as a target for any school bully and or passing crow. Of course, the most
What?
important part of the emo armor is
A
dyed black
target
hair,
for-
straightened to obscure teenage
for
actors
bullies?
and to make
Were
sure
bullies
you
known
catch
to,
yourself
like,
in the mirror as little as
pull on
possible.
lip
The
piercings?
emos paved the way for many norms of social media. They pioneered the full body selfie, and they were applying filters and Photoshop to their photos when Instagram was just a vapid dream in the head of whoever was inventing it. And emo culture was also discussing mental health and LGBT rights long before it dominated public discourse, and admittedly, it was a bit fucked up at times. But today, the internet only approaches these topics
Here's the
in a
Prime
mature,
Troxlong
open-minded
and gift
manner,
sub
and we have these
Nicodemus
fringe,
and
fondling
Bit Sam.
frontiersmen to thank for it. It doesn't feel hot or uncomfortable yet. In fact, it doesn't really feel like much.
Well, that's good, because it's not meant to touch your scalp, so...
It's not meant to touch your scalp.
No.
Good to know. By 2004, record labels had fully weaponized the emo virus. In a space of 2 years, it would go from being a public health concern to a full-blown pandemic. There were the wildly successful wine pop stylings of Fall Out Boy, a band with 5 members, but only 4 chins. And there were the theatre school
That was never an emo band.
Disco, an act famous for their obnoxiously long song titles and that one bit in their one song where a guy says a naughty no-no word.
What a shame the poor groom's bride is a whore.
Sensing the dark winds blowing towards the
This is like this is a very off look at emo back in the early days. He's missing gold, like actual gold.
And attempted to get all sensitive with the release of I Miss You, a song dedicated to the relatable woes of missing your ex-girlfriend and spying
Fall
on
Out Boy was not an emo band. They were a pop rock radio band.
Infected themselves with the emo virus.
I was on the forefront of emo.
Depressing lyrics with their 6 times platinum album, American Idiot. But emo's commercial peak came on the 12th of September 2006 in the form of a literal parade. My Chemical Romance's ode to a cancer death fever dream somehow became an enormous mainstream hit. For months following its release, it was inescapable. It was playing on the radio, on music video channels, on LimeWire, and from the back of the school bus, playing on the tinny speakers of someone's Motorola Razr. And if that one sounds too specific, that's because I was the one playing it.
Hello, Moto.
It is the third law of culture that any action is always met with an equal and opposite backlash. And emo's front lash was so seismic that its critics arrived armed with all the unholy powers of the mainstream media.
Now, emo is a term you may or may not have come across. It's short for emotional.
Oh my God.
Parents about the so-called emo
I remember
culture.
this shit.
Reed, what is emo?
Well, Barb, this is something that has come out of the internet and into music and the lives of Utah teens.
News reports on emos were designed to terrify parents,
Slava?
focusing on the subculture.
Exactly, he's missing all of the actual emo gold like Silverstein and shit.
About gender bending.
Gender bending is also part of the emo culture. Boys wear girl pants and makeup.
Girl pants!
But like any teenage culture, emo was specifically designed to piss off parents, so its vilification in the mainstream media probably helped it with its target demographic. But emo's real downfall was orchestrated by the very forces that brought it to prominence.
When did emo die?
Emo
That is a
culture
good
may
question. I
have
never even
popularized
thought
the
to think of
selfie
that.
And the confessional blog, but it also brought another internet pastime to the fore: cyberbullying. Being an emo kid
They were
online
bullied?
in 2006
That's
was
why they
like
went
wearing
extinct?
a MAGA hat to your liberal arts lecture. You were kind of asked
bullied
for it. For
to
every
extinction?
extended fringe, there was a full-body cringe and an army of trolls waiting to pounce. You might remember this emo hate anthem that did the rounds in
Pingu
2006.
and Gamerman.
I wear skin tight clothes while hating my life. If I said I like girls, I'd only be half right.
But the single most egregious case of online emophobia came in the form of National Emo Kid Beatdown Day, cleverly scheduled for the 6th of June 2006. Get it? You get it. From MySpace to 4chan, the happy hate crime holiday spread like septus from a septum piercing. And while there were no recorded emo pummelings on the day, anti-emo violence became a genuine global problem. It was officially declared a hate crime here in the UK, and there were actually roaming gangs of anti-emo vigilantes in Mexico City.
This young emo
Also, 666 was the Falador Massacre Day. God rest its soul.
But as attackers run
RuneScape
round
history.
for more emos.
But if I were to retroactively point to the final digital nail in emo's cyber coffin, it was this, where it became a punchline for YouTube's favourite sexual predator. Sorry, I mean YouTube's favourite alleged sexual predator.
You know what? This one I believe.
When
Maybe
this guy's
Onision
making
really
fun of you,
did kill
It
it.
might be time to return to your natural colour and force yourself to like jazz or something. Ah, jazz, the thinking man's
Exit
migraine.
Tier 1 nose in the recent fire
As for the
side.
bands, well, like a toilet that won't flush, some of them just kept that shit up, with groups like Paramore maintaining a loyal fan base to this day. But the main exhibitors of the emo
they're
style
still good.
made it their mission to distance themselves as far as possible from the label.
Now you've been quoted as saying emo is a pile of shit. Oh shit, yes. Why is that?
Citing 90s emo as the one true emo.
Well, emo as it is today, which is nothing like emo as it was when I was growing up.
And Panic at the Disco frontman Brendan Urie? I don't know, has made no secret of the fact that he just wants to close the goddamn door on the song that made his band so popular.
Maybe sub Tony.
The label became so toxic that it even sunk one of the era's most profitable film franchises, with Tobey Maguire's emo dance number in Spider-Man 3 being the only thing that anyone remembers from that cinematic stillbirth. So after applying a healthy
That should have given new
ridicule,
birth to
the
emo, honestly.
rash disappeared as quickly as it developed. It survived as an insult and a meme a lot longer than it actually lived in cultural relevance. And ironically, that's probably what kept its memory alive long enough to inspire genuine nostalgia. Just 2 years ago, Post Malone dropped Welcome to the Black Parade during a DJ set, and look at the crowd, they're loving it. And you know what?
I mean, the
Maybe
music
it's
is
the
still
hair
good.
dye
Like, I
going
don't.
to my brain,
You
but
can
I
shit
like
on
that
some of the
song too.
emo
It's
culture, but the
good.
music still
I mean,
slaps.
It's not really good, but like it's an anthem. I mean, it's not Mozart or Ambient Nonsense 12 by Aphex Conjoined Twin, but it's
Wrong.
good.
I
like
still listen to it.
Bohemian
I still like
Rhapsody's
it.
Good. It doesn't.
I mean,
make
you can
sense,
enjoy
but it doesn't
your
have to.
Playboy
Yes,
Cardi, and I'll enjoy some of the old school boner jams from fucking Silverstein and shit. Thanks to Prime Thrill House. Straight up, just no. What do you listen to, CB? Or Sabi? What's on your playlist? Stage is yours. What do you listen to, Sabi? I'm expecting a Playboy Cardi or something. Thanks to Tier 1 Ox. Ooh, maybe like ambient noise. Yeah. Just give me like your top 3. You don't have to think too hard about it. It wasn't that hard of a question. Just asking what you listen to. Okay, he just left. Okay. Not very confident in your music choices then, I see. Thanks for resub Slam. LimeWire was the shit, man. Thanks to Prime Victor. And hello, Iceberg. Paramore's considered emo? Of course they were. Aliens caught on camera. Haven't we already seen that? Yeah, we've seen that. It's just like a kid with like pants on his head doing a chicken dance. Which would probably be used as evidence on Ancient Aliens. Ten real-life demons caught on camera. This one fucking sucked. Or I guess it could be one of the million other YouTubers that makes the same content. This is gonna be the same videos though, they just usually take the same shit from each other. There's the Prime Zimclad. There's resub Reckless Jake. And resub Damn Boy. Okay, fine, fuck it. It's just gonna be the same clips I'm sure we've already seen.
A demon is an evil spirit or devil, especially one thought to possess a person or act as a tormentor in hell. You may not believe in these or think there's some kind of paranormal being, or maybe if you do believe in heaven and hell, you believe in demons too. Whatever your thoughts are, they may well change after you see these videos. It seems people have caught real-life demons before, and their videos are so eerily real, they'll send a chill down your spine. I'm Charlie, and today we're going to look at
Charlie.
10 real-life demons caught on camera. Before we get possessed, why not subscribe and press the notification bell. Tall Demon. This one comes from the United Kingdom, and it was filmed by an amateur YouTuber who wanted to show off his new bike. It was a grey, foggy morning in the UK countryside. The man rides his bike down the road when, all of a sudden, his camera picks up something strange. You may not realise it at first, but look in the field behind the hedge.
Holy
As you
fucking
can see,
Slender
there's a tall,
Man!
dark figure walking around. Now, look in proportion to the trees, this is clearly not a human being. Whatever it is a lot taller than any human. It kind of reminds me of the creepypasta Slenderman. The man appears to be lingering, as if it's hard for him to walk. But this looks like some kind of demon from another realm to me. Of course,
Well, I think
no
it
one
has
except
to
this
be.
man is about to see it. And even he didn't see this until he brought the footage back home and saw it on his computer. The man goes on to talk about his new bike and how good it is to ride. But the only thing anyone who watches this will be interested in is what's going on behind him. Whatever it is, it's incredibly creepy. The long figure appears to be wearing a black suit of some sort. And creepily at one point, he even appears to stop and look at the biker. Perhaps enough people believing or talking about Slender Man has turned him into a real thing. Or perhaps this is a demon haunting the countryside of England.
It's probably what it is.
Cave Demon. If there's one place you'll find creepy creatures, it's inside caves. One day, a couple of friends were exploring a cave system. Armed with only flashlights and a video camera, they entered the cave. The two men who were in Colombia walk around the cave for quite some time. But that's when they stumble across what looks like some kind of rock. If you look closely, it looks like the side profile of an alien. But then, as one of the explorers puts his flashlight to it, it moves. You can see this bizarre creature was sleeping inside the cave. Some believe this could have been a man wearing a mask.
No,
but
absolutely
look at the creature's
not.
arms. This is clearly not a human being.
No,
the
that's
men
an
are
alien. That's a
fascinated,
fucking
but way too
alien.
terrified. And they soon run straight out of the cave. Roof Demon. This video comes from Nuevo Laredo in Mexico. In 2015, someone kept hearing loud
Thanks for
noises on their
doink in the
roof.
prime
Whenever they
version.
went out to check, they saw nothing. They thought it could be some kind of interesting rare animal, or maybe a person. So they grabbed their camera and laid in wait. That was when they heard the noise on their roof yet again. They ran outside with their camera, and that's when they caught something terrifying. After some loud banging on his roof and birds flying away scared, he turns around. This is when he sees a red demon creature on his roof.
It's his neighbor naked on his roof.
This is obviously not a human being because its head and neck look way too strange. The creature's neck and head looks elongated and thin, and it appears to have a reddish color like a demon. You can actually hear the person filming gasp in terror. The man literally freezes in shock until the demon hops off. I have no idea what this humanoid creature could possibly be. After he scrambled over the roof, the guy ran inside his house again. The strange thing is, the demon seems just as scared as the man. And since this was recorded, the man has never seen this demon again. Demon Skeleton. In some countries and cultures, people believe that the souls of deceased children can come back to life. For example, this is belief in countries like Indonesia. Well, this video may prove that. This video comes from Indonesia. And as you can see, a skeleton appears to be walking around. I have no idea how this is happening. This is literally a doll of a girl made of wood. And as you can see, there's no mechanism making it walk. It seems to be holding this man's hand and walking around. If I saw this, I would think I was having a hallucination. But no, this may well be a real demon come to life. Can you explain this absolutely bizarre phenomena?
No.
The strange thing is, this isn't the
It's
only
impossible.
time this has happened. Other videos, also from Indonesia, show skeletons walking around. It appears these created dolls may actually not be dolls, but in fact demons or a living being. Do you think this is really someone who's not alive being reanimated and coming back to life?
That's the only
or do you think there's
explanation.
some kind of trickery going on which we can't work out? Honestly, I don't know which explanation is more
We just
scary.
can't figure out how it's done.
Albino demon. This video was caught one night in Pennsylvania, USA. One man was walking around in the forest alone. He was looking for interesting night wildlife with a flashlight. He hears leaves rumbling around, so he knows an animal is nearby. That's when he moves his flashlight onto something totally terrifying. As you can see, some kind of albino demon appears to be seen in the woods.
Oh my god, it's an albino demon!
It looks right at him for about 1 second
Pennywise.
and then runs off. The man then gasps and says, "What was that?" One thing which is consistent in all of these videos is the demon appears to be very afraid. You'd think they'd come after the humans in some way, but it seems people and demons are just as afraid of each other. What's creepy is it appears to move very silently. Some say this could be some kind of albino Sasquatch, but that again would be mythical and creepy. What do you guys think this is?
Probably albino Sasquatch.
Road demon. This video was captured in the United States. A few friends are driving around one night having a good time, but that's when they see something pretty creepy.
Oh wait, this one's real.
Kind of red demon
I also can't show this one. This one's an actual human being. It's a naked crackhead, and he starts chasing the car. Like the car is going 30, and the crackhead stride for stride with the car. It's fucking awesome. But his dick and balls are out. I don't know how this is allowed on YouTube. Yeah, I can't show that one. That one's so fucking good. Alright, hobo shoestring? Why did it say death? What does he do? He's been riding freight trains since 1989. Hey, he didn't write it.
I was gonna look at these. Slowing down a little bit in between that event. Old train. Let's.
He doesn't even ride.
Dark Millennium Falcon shirt finally came.
Oh.
Like made out of rubber right here, so. In the rest, the water would here, but how.
Nice. And yeah, I've seen that conveyor. It was good. Making a Lego clock. I don't know which one you wanted me to see. 15 worst horror movies ever made. I actually kind of want to make one of those lists. I've seen every shitty horror movie that was ever put on Netflix for, it was like a span of like 3 years. So I've seen probably every horror movie on this list.
Everyone loves a good, scary movie. When done properly, they take us through a range of emotions. Have us cowering behind a bucket of popcorn, and remind us what fragile creatures we actually are. Not all productions manage to achieve this aim, however, and there are countless films that fell flat. Whether it be the plot, the acting, the special effects, or simply an atrocious concept from the outset. We hope you're ready to relive some of the greatest
he's gonna put
cinematic
Birdemic on here. I have to
because
immediately
it's time
discount
to
it.
take a look at the 15
Birdemic
worst
is
horror
meant to be
movies
bad.
ever made. Number 15. Ginger Dead Man Movie. On the face
I've
of it,
actually never
a
seen
movie
Ginger
about a
Dead Man.
psychopathic gingerbread man being played by the one and only Gary Busey should have been the perfect B-movie antidote to the polished Hollywood blockbusters that were so common in 2006. But instead, it'll go down in history as one of the most bizarre, downright stupid, and not scary
It looks
horror
good to
movies
me.
to ever grace our screens.
Doesn't look like a
Get your
gingerbread
little
man
ass
though.
over here and smoke this shit.
The basic plot is that the ashes of a
pretty
dead
cool.
serial killer were mixed in with the ingredients of a batch of gingerbread men, and his soul inhabited one of the baked figures to wreak his revenge on the bakery. Admittedly, Busey did the best he could with the script, but this wasn't enough to prevent it being declared as one of the hardest movies to watch thanks to its shoddy script and unrelatable humor. And it came in for particular criticism for being so clearly derivative of the much better Child's Play franchise.
No, it's
Despite
nothing.
critical
It's
panning,
not even like
it
it.
spawned 3 further sequels, each of which plumbed
There's a
new
gingerbread
depths
man.
of awfulness. And since the original cast unsurprisingly didn't return for them, there were no redeeming features whatsoever. Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell right now, or Slenderman will come from under your bed when you're sleeping.
Okay.
Number 14. M. Night Shyamalan.
If he does, then he does.
M. Night Shyamalan has made a name for himself with his thought-provoking, supernatural movies with a trademark twist at the end, and has been responsible for generating more than $3 billion at the box office. Not everything he turns his hand to is a hit, though, and in 2008, he released his first and only R-rated work, The Happening.
God, I need to rewatch this fucking movie! Fuck!
Starring Mark Wahlberg,
this one is an
it
actual
tells
classic.
The story of 4 friends as they try to escape a strange natural disaster. And while it took $163 million against its $48 million budget, this happened more because of the director and...
Writing it down so I don't forget to rewatch this movie.
actor's star power than anything to do with the quality of the film.
It wasn't that bad.
It was critically panned.
It is a
most
beautifully
felt that it was the
shit
ideal
movie.
thing to watch if you wanted to take advantage of a comfortable cinema seat to get a decent nap. The story simply didn't make sense. There was very little tension, and even Wahlberg himself said in an interview 2 years later that it was a really bad movie. It's no wonder then that it regularly tops polls of the worst movies of all time. Number 13.
Definitely not one of the worst of all time.
3.
But it's very bad.
Creepshow and Creepshow 2 were horror anthology movies that were released in the 80s based on stories by Stephen King and directed by George A. Romero. It made sense then that the studio wanted to reawaken the franchise in 2006 with the release of Creepshow 3. But the problem was they weren't able to attach any of the original cast or crew to the project. What resulted was a mess of a movie that was released on HBO and home video around the world. Instead of linking the individual stories together by a comic book like in the first two, the actual characters in each of the short films interacted with each other, which created a strange sense that you were watching one long narrative, while at the same time, you weren't. There doesn't appear to be anyone who had anything good to say about Creepshow 3. Character development was virtually non-existent. The obviously limited budget made it look awful, and the stories being told simply weren't up to scratch. If you're looking for frights and scares, then Creepshow 3 certainly will not be providing them to you. Number 12. Nah 2, Food of the Gods, 1989. The Food of the Gods,
I haven't heard of like
was a popular novel written by H.G. Wells that was first published in 1904, and in 1976 it was turned into a fairly terrible movie by Bert I. Gordon that was
just a bunch of rats
in
a pool
to be the worst rodent movie of all time.
How many rodent movies are there?
Why then, the studio decided that it would be a good idea to release a sequel in 1989, no one will ever know. But if people thought the first was bad, they surely couldn't have foreseen this train wreck of a movie ever seeing the light of day. As sequels go, this one took the unusual step of having absolutely no relation to the original at all, apart from
probably
with
a good
its name. And while that might have seemed like a good idea on
That's
paper,
what I
they
said.
forgot to actually come up with even a semi-decent plot. After injecting a mysterious serum into some rats in a laboratory, they break free and run rampage through a town. It's a classic 80s monster B-movie, but without the comedy, monster design, or fun that fans of the genre like. Number 11. Anaconda, 1997.
Man, what the fuck are these
Green
movies? I
anacondas
haven't heard of
are the
any of
largest
these.
species of snake in the world. And if you were to ever face...
Hold on, I'll be right back though. I want to fill up this water. I haven't had water in a little bit. I tried to watch Karen, but it was just way too boring. It was hard to sit through. It was genuinely a hard movie to sit through. Fucking sucked. I'll be right back. Like, not in a fun way. I was hoping it'd be so bad it's good, but it was just so fucking hard to sit through. I'm fucking back. Oh, thanks to the resub Josh and Hustler.
Race one in the waters of the Amazon. 2. The
I've never seen Exorcist 2.
19... Stephen King is literature's
Maximum
master
Overdrive.
of
I know
horror.
this one.
Stephen King.
Blockbuster, different mediums of expression, the
I've
worst
seen a
ever
little bit of
Stephen
that.
first Leprechaun movie was released in 1993.
You go down.
A Wicker Man movie that was released in 1973 changed the way we view Sea Life Forever. Community that was terrorized.
He didn't get any like actual good, super shitty horror movies. Thanks to the resub Satan and Infected and Carlos and Spock. You did though? Yeah, maybe some of like the 80s ones where every movie, well not every, but a lot of the movies were just shitty anyway, just because they were low budget. I'm talking like big budget horror movies, I think is what you should be focusing on for the worst horror movies, because so much shit in the 80s was just throwaway, shovelware shit. I'm talking multi-million-dollar budgets and things. That's what I think matters. Because I could also just cherry pick like student films too. I'm talking like some real stinkers. Like Let's Be Evil. Thanks the resub Bread Couch. The newest Grudge. Newest Grudge was absolutely atrocious. Yep. Jason in Spaces. Yeah, that one's charmingly bad. Thanks to the Prime Mirage. Craig Denny's Astrologer. Never heard of it. I'll check it out maybe. When art restoration goes south. I'll check a few of these out. Oh, I don't want to get
around
DMCA'd.
1930, directly on the wall by a minor Spanish artist. And after 82 years, it had started to flake significantly from moisture buildup. Meet Cecilia Jimenez, longtime parishioner and amateur painter who is upset with the damage the painting has taken. So she decides to try and restore it herself. She gets some way through the restoration and decides to take a holiday and let it dry, then return and finish it. Sometime later, the townsfolk start to take notice of the changes. They aren't pleased. At first, the mayor suspects vandalism, but then folks eventually find out it was done by a local, Mrs. Jimenez.
Thanks,
Eventually,
Cecilia.
a local newspaper reports on the incident,
That looks
and
pretty
that's when
good.
things really get rolling. The news was out, and online communities exploded. Discussion threads, criticism, memes, edits, cartoons, pastries, parodies, a bicycle, cosplays, tattoos, Japanese candy, pixel art, nail painting, stamps, SNL skits, and general hilarity spread far and wide and became an internet sensation.
In a way, she did
The
a
new
much better
painting is
job.
mocked and ridiculed for days on end. Many people call it the worst art restoration ever, and the news travels all around the world. Let's skip forward 6 years. The location is also Spain. This 16th century sculpture of St. George has been aging badly. The wood has darkened and lots of the paint has flaked off. The local parish decides to take matters into their own hands. The result is less than adequate. One of the eyes veers off to the right. The skin is now a cartoonish pink color, and all the subtlety of the original paint job is lost. Even more upsetting is the statue is a rare example of polychrome sculpture, a complex process used to make statues more lifelike. And it gets worse. Experts say that with this amount of overpainting, removing it will also mean the detail and color of the original will be lost
stupid
forever.
statue
Apparently,
anyway.
the church hired an arts and crafts teacher to do the job. Let's skip forward 3 months. The location? Spain. Again. A set of 15th century statues was painted in garish colors by a local parishioner, with permission from the priest. Of course. I'm not a professional, she states, but I always like to do it, and the figures really needed to be painted. So, you know how to paint, right? Yeah, sure. Back to 2012. The news about the fresco continues to spread. Many comment on the painting's similarity to a monkey. People start to call it Eche Mono. Mrs. Jimenez is interviewed by a news station where she defends herself, but without strong evidence, most of it falls on deaf ears. Now at this point,
what does
many
she
of you
defend?
may be angry at Cecilia Jimenez, and I wouldn't blame you. Some people at the time also had quite vitriolic comments about her, and many thought that this was just an arrogant old woman who had ruined a valuable painting without permission. And yeah, what she did was pretty arrogant. But according to her, she did get permission, and she also claimed that people had watched her working in broad daylight and had not said a word. And apparently,
okay, so she knows
this
it's
was also
dog
not
shit.
her first time working on the painting. She recounted that she spent time in an apartment by the church and had touched up the painting repeatedly, specifically on the tunic, with the permission of the parish priest and caretakers. And at some point, she decided it needed a major rework on the face, which was halted after her first stage of brushwork. Now, it would be nice to think that the only reason this looked bad was because it was stopped very early, but the proportions and muddy colors still don't make much sense
if she just
for a
had another
first
couple
stage.
days,
That's not to say there
it would
isn't
have
a
come out
possibility
incredible.
if she was given more time there could have been a better result, because many parts do look very unfinished, but I don't think it would be able to match the original painting. And even if Mrs. Jimenez had the skills to replicate the work, that's not really the point of a proper restoration. I've watched over 30 hours of Baumgartner restoration, so I'm pretty much an expert. But according to the opinions of these other experts, restoration is only supposed to restore what has been lost, not to overpaint and add on to the artist's original vision. This is also one of the fatal flaws of the restoration of the St. George sculpture. So as soon as Mrs. Jimenez started to go past the flaky areas and eventually completely cover up the face, she should have stopped. And whether the priest actually did give permission or not, we may never truly know.
We could ask
However,
him.
a year later, it was revealed the priest was arrested for alleged sexual abuse and embezzlement of $285,000. The priest's lawyer said the case had nothing to do with the painting incident. You can make of that what you will. Mrs. Jimenez also had a great deal of remorse for what she did once she realized the full extent of her actions. Many reports said she suffered a great deal at the time, refusing to eat, visiting a psychiatrist, just general stress. Picture this. You're an 80-year-old woman, and your favorite local painting is deteriorating, and you think you can restore it a bit. First,
And you
start
do a
with
great
small
fucking
areas,
job.
but eventually you want to fix the whole image. You start painting on the flaking spots, and then you notice this spot is also flaking off, and this spot doesn't look the same, and then this color doesn't quite match, and then the paint starts getting absorbed, and before you know it, you've covered up the whole thing. So maybe you need to take a break and rethink how you're going to approach this. Then over the next 2 weeks, your restoration becomes a worldwide social media sensation. You are ridiculed and laughed at by millions of people. This is an important thing to note. You also have to understand that international backlash for anyone probably does terrible things to their mental health, especially since her mistakes were blown a bit out of proportion. As for claims that this painting was rare and valuable,
and here is what she did to this rare and valuable painting.
Sure, it was old, and the townsfolk did have a sentimental attachment to it, but several sources say it had very little historical significance and wasn't really that valuable. A lot of this can be demonstrated just by the writings about the painter of the original. Elias Garcia Martinez is pretty much only known because of the botched restoration. And it gets better. A few years later, a copy of the painting by the same artist was discovered by 2 antique dealers. It's an earlier work, and is in much better condition.
That doesn't look very good.
So it turns out Cecilia Jimenez's
better.
mistake was actually far less significant than most people believe. What's more is that Spain had been going through an economic recession, but with help from the media, the town and the church became quite a tourist attraction. Later, the church reported nearly 200,000 visitors within the last 6 years.
Just to see that?
$57,000 per year from merchandise and tourist fees. Later, an opera based around Jimenez's life was created. It's about as
Holy
strange
shit.
as you would expect.
Oh, this is good. This is lit. Wow, I mean,
As
the
for
local
claims
church
that
group is
Jimenez
crushing it.
was full of herself, it's not far-fetched to say that she has some pride. But honestly, if you made a mistake that was so hilarious that it became famous, wouldn't you want at least some recognition and a cut of the profits? And these are profits just from tourist visitors and merch sales. She did not go around copyright claiming internet users if anyone was confused. But even from these small sources of revenue, this painting produced a lot of money. Echemono turned out to be great at selling merchandise. Pens, t-shirts, mugs, the usual stuff. The money was eventually split between Mrs. Jimenez and the sanctuary's retirement home. Mrs. Jimenez is reportedly using her half to take care of her son, who has cerebral palsy. Jimenez also eventually painted her own version of Jesus for a wine label. Sure, the image might be a bit wonky, but it's stylistically clear. The features are well defined, and I would say it's a big improvement.
I think it's a downgrade.
Inspired wine also exists.
I'll just say it. I think she hit
pretty good,
the peak of her career with
all the new attention, she also opened
piece.
up an art show full of her other paintings that are so much better than what you would expect. Oh, and she also sold one on eBay. The painting is now permanently on display next to a picture of the original version. Some folks took their own interpretive stance on the now famous work. One reporter wrote, "The restoration provides rare, raw access to human faith at work, representing one woman's vision of her savior,
that sounds
uncompromised by schooling." It was unclear
artists.
whether experts could ever properly restore Echeomo, but I don't think anyone has the intention of doing so, now that the ruined version is producing more money than the original ever did. So why do botched art restorations like this happen so often? Well, I can't tell you why it seems to be happening so much in Spain, but I can tell you that art, especially old art, is extremely delicate. For a proper restoration, a restorer has to approach each and every artwork as its own problem. What chemicals need to be used, how it should be cleaned, how it should be retouched, where it should be retouched, if it should be retouched. It's quite complicated, and it requires a trained expert to do one properly without causing irreversible damage. Not only are these restorations bad, they also make getting back the original near impossible. One expert says this happens a lot more often than newspapers talk about, and when it comes to really old art, that's just how it is. Over time, it's going to pass.
I think we just repaint all that shit.
It's going to get damaged and accumulate grime, and eventually someone is going to try and fix it. If it's not in a museum or heavily guarded by someone with a lot of knowledge, it's going to deteriorate by natural processes or human interference.
Whoa.
As for the 16th century statue, a re-restoration has been completed, and as far as I know—
Wait, was this not? I didn't notice this the first. Is it over Reptar? Like, what is this horse standing over a dinosaur? That's fucking awesome. I didn't notice this. I thought it was just a rock. That's not a dragon. What kind of dragon has little baby feet like that? It's more like a T-Rex. Kinda. I guess it could be a dragon. Or just like a giant lizard. Maybe Godzilla or something.
Has been completed, and as far as I know, there has been no further news on the set of statues.
It has wings? I didn't even notice.
So, what is the lesson in all of this?
Subchlorox.
Well, if you ever make a mistake, just remember to make that mistake so spectacularly disastrous that you become famous for it. But in all seriousness, please do not go vandalizing art for fame. You are probably not going to get the same result. Art impacts us in ways we may not expect. In this case, it was the story of a woman who, in good faith, went in a bit over her head, became the creator of a meme, and in an unlikely turn of events managed to come out on top. Just, in the future, if you plan on doing something to an antique, please just contact an expert first.
Or just ask me if you can do it. I'll tell you. I've seen the Pizza Time thing, and no, I'm not playing Deltarune 2, god damn it. New Slap Mountain. Alright, we'll watch the new Slap Mountain. Slap Mountain is so fucking good. Oh! I see. This got posted. I didn't even see this go up today. Okay, so this does not have the main event. Oh, it does. I had the privilege of being able to commentate with JT on this one. So I've already seen that. I won't spoil the surprise. I'll actually just talk about, or do something with that in a video. No spoilers. But I will tell you, that was probably the best slapping match I've ever seen in my life. Whatever you're expecting, you're not thinking big enough. It was Darius versus Wolverine. It was absolutely fucking unreal. What space movie came out in 1992? Why would I Google that? Don't Google it? Okay, well now I'm gonna Google it. Let's see. Oh, I see. What an epic troll. Thanks the resub cipher. I've seen Miyazaki's interviews. They are pretty wild. Oh, is that like a suggestion for tonight? I'm definitely not gonna watch a full movie. I don't want to watch The Astrologer. Coming along great, Rip. You hear about the artist that got paid $84,000 for a blank canvas? Yeah, the museum got a great deal on that. Usually blank canvas art goes for 6 figures. Like deep in the 6 figures. So they got a good deal. Thanks to resub Dex Caliber, Chain, and the Prime Mojo Jojo. Am I gonna play Melty Blood? I haven't decided yet. No Darman tonight. Thanks to the gift subprime. Americans who speak with regional English dialect. What? Okay. This doesn't exactly sound thrilling, but I'll check it out. We're gonna see a mermaid.
Hoi-toid? What is it? It's hoi-toid. It's high tide. It's when the tide comes up high, you know, on the sand side. Sand, like Pamlico sang. This is Pamlico sang. Hoi-toid on the sand side.
Thanks to the bits, Uncle Mingus.
The remote fishing communities along
And the
North
gifts of Mojo
Carolina's
Jojo.
coast inherited the brogue of their English and Irish forebears. Over the years, they also added many new words and pronunciations to the dialect.
I know my uncle used to always say it, picking on me all the time, you know, when I was young, and, you know, we'd be fishing, you know, he said, come on, let's get going. It's hoi-toid on the sand soil. Last night the waterfall.
This sounds like Australian.
What's the matter, Uncle Wood? He said, get her going.
And he said, why is a high tide brogue? And I said, you know, it's where we live. It's called the high tide brogue.
High tiders, yeah, I forgot about that one.
Well, that wasn't very interesting. They just say high tide weird. That's the only thing about their accent is they say high tide weird. The high tiders. Interesting. Exhibit Hero. Animal Planet made up a bunch of stuff. Well, yeah, of course they did. Is that a suggestion? You just telling me that. Watches 1 Minute in Judges. Yep. It's just one town's not so interesting dialect. Do you remember when Animal Planet made a fake documentary about mermaids being real and tricked a bunch of people? That sounds vaguely familiar. Thanks for the resub, Adam. There's a good video on that, is it? About the mermaid doc? Oh, that's what it is? When Animal Planet made a bunch of stuff up, it's about the mermaid documentary? Thanks to Prime Perfect Cell and the 10 gift subs, Jack Slice. Thank you for the generosity, man. And the gift sub, Rocky. Okay, I see then. I don't really feel like watching a documentary on the mermaid thing. Appreciate that, Jack. Did the new Kinto Bento come out? I don't think so. We've been waiting a long time. We've been waiting 5 months. Oh, thanks to 2 gift subs, Sassy and the bits Smegus. God damn it. Whew. Have you ever watched Korean ghost hunting videos? It's like anime IRL. I've seen them on like top 5 scary clips things. Thanks a bitch, Bob. He said why he wasn't uploading in this comment section.
It's terrifying.
Well, I don't see it. Oh. Oh no. Well, wishing him a speedy recovery. Hope everything's alright. What is it, tier 1, Foxy Grandpa? Can you watch Bretman's Rocks Hawaiian Villa? Bretman's Rocks Hawaiian Villa. Okay. Inside Bretman Rock's colorful Hawaiian Villa.
Aloha! Hi AD, welcome in, come inside.
I have seen them all over Twitter. Who are they? I might as well look them up now, since I'm about to take a look at their colorful villa. Bretman Rock. A beauty influencer and social media person. Oh. So they're an influencer. Alright. Didn't you play Among Us with them? I don't think so. Maybe I did. I'm really not sure.
So
I played a lot of
my
Among Us.
Living room. I feel like it represents a lot of
Thanks for some Tesser and the Prime
random. It's very colorful and it's very gay. Duh. I'm obviously from Hawaii, but I am Filipino, so I have a lot of like local pieces in this room, and I also have a bunch of like Filipino pieces in this room. This is my live terrarium out here. I feel like it's just like a piece of nature in my house, and I don't know, like staring at it is so therapeutic.
You should get like a little turtle for it.
Definitely my favorite piece in my former living room. And you already know, you recognize the name, it's the baddest. I also love the fireplace. I feel like fireplaces are really kind of rare to see in Hawaii because
are those? He has a pair of roller skates.
Here. And my favorite chair in.
I haven't seen like 4 roller skates in so long.
Chair from Kenneth. He is a Filipino designer, and it's called a blooming chair because it's supposed to resemble a flower.
This is 5 gift subs.
But let's be
Might
real.
change it later.
Y'all know what it
Thank you.
resembles to me, so it's very comfortable actually. And I don't know, I just feel like it's so sexual and so Bretman Rock. Over here,
So it's an actual
kind of like a
butthole
photo
chair?
op moment.
Wait,
This
what the
is
fuck?
designed and up. So
Where do you even get like a butthole chair?
so
That's actually kind of nutty. It's an actual brown balloon knot chair. Very cool. This house is pretty nice.
it's very comfortable actually. And I don't know, I just feel like it's so sexual and so Bretman Rock. Over here is kind of like a photo op moment. This is designed and made by a local artist. It also reminds me
Exhibit
so
soy
much
and
of
Dorito.
like my MTV show because of this chair. And honestly, I just like sitting here sometimes and like admiring my house. Like, wow. And of course, we can't forget a chair for my little niece, Cleo.
So just a bunch of wood stacked on top of
collect
itself?
A lot of crystals. You guys will see them all throughout my house. I love crystals. I'm pretty sure this is heat treated selenite. Not selenite, celestite. I don't know what the f it's called, but
It looks like
orange.
something
I
I'd
love
see in
it.
biology class.
My
Like some kind of
office
model.
is kind of like a mess, but like a hot mess. So it's very much like me. When I am working on something, I like to surround myself with what
Thanks,
I'm
Risa
working on, and so that's why I
Mihar.
have all of my Crocs in here. I also do a bunch of like my gaming over here, YouTube stuff, and
Thanks,
a lot
Risa
of, like,
Phantom.
my achievements are also here because I like to remind myself that I'm a bad. What I'm most proud of in this room would probably be this award. It is the E People's Choice Awards Beauty Influencer of the Year. The reason why I'm so
Nice.
proud of this is because a couple days before I received this award, my dad passed. And I almost did not want to take the flight to accept this award, but I just felt like I had to, and my dad would have probably wanted me to go there and accept my award. And to be honest, I felt his presence that day. I feel like just this award
Congrats,
itself
that's
is
huge.
not just for me, but it's also for like my parents and their like dreams and aspirations of me when I was a kid. So yeah. I have like non-makeup stuff in here that I've worked on as well, like this What Do You Mean set. Obviously, she's a James Campbell High School grad.
Show me more of the house instead of
I
like
don't
the
really do
merch.
much in here besides like work.
This place looks
So it's
fucking
pretty
nutty.
boring. So
There was an
this
asshole
is
chair.
my
I'm
favorite
kind
dining
of
room.
interested now.
My favorite piece in
Oh my
this
god,
dining
it's
room
butt
is
cheek
probably
chairs.
This butt chair. I was very fortunate enough to work with a brilliant team of designers.
I see.
They are
Well
called
then.
the MCY.
Now you've got my attention.
I love that they captured how weird I am, and they basically captured like my
That chair looks
personality
so
in my
uncomfortable.
house, and I love that the most. Another thing that I really love is
Love the
this
design, but goddamn, I'd
wallpaper
hate to
that
sit
we
in it.
chose. When I moved to America, I couldn't read that well like most other kids, and one of the first books that I read is Where the Wild Things Are.
Great book.
And it just reminds me so much of like moving to America and
Exit
my
Tier 1
love for, like,
Scalamantics.
reading. I don't know, doesn't it remind you of the world Where the Wild Things Are? This is my chandelier over here. It is from Restoration Hardware. I love it. It kind of reminds me of the
Thanks for the 3 gift
Philippines
subs,
and,
Sumo.
like just the things that I grew up around.
Appreciate it,
I know
man.
it's so dramatic, but like this dining room just reminds me so much of like moving to America and being an immigrant kid, and like yeah, it's crazy. And also the touches are like me, cause I'm extra as hell. Welcome
Well, this
to my
all just looks
kitchen.
super normal.
This is where I pretend that I know how to cook. To be honest,
Where's some more
made it
wacky
here to,
shit?
Like, microwave things. You know, around and
Here
I'm a
we
singer,
go.
songwriter, actor, actress, athlete, activist, a scientist on the mother side. That's what I do. Another thing that my designers helped me source out are these local paintings. I love supporting local artists. Obviously, we have this. This is actually me as the girl with the pearl earrings when I was promoting my new sunglass collection. And someone did a painting of it, and I just love it
Nice.
so much. Sometimes I just like to
I'm trying to read that
get
shit on the
giddy
back.
and like walk around in here and pretend like I have my own museum at home. My favorite one is this turtle right here. I'm a big advocate for saving turtles because without turtles, we wouldn't have turtles. Please don't use plastic straws.
That's a really good point.
Do you want this?
You stop
to
and think
die?
about it.
No, you don't. Another painting in this house.
Why
that
stop
I
at
really
turtles,
enjoy
though?
Is this painting of my niece Cleo and I. And it's kind of like the colors of my house right now, so I thought it would look really perfect here. As you could probably see, my niece got a hold of the chalk. I'm glad that I have a house now where I could let like my nieces and my nephews just draw whatever they want on the walls. Because I want Cleo to know that like I appreciate these like little drawings that she makes of me. Even
Now, if he has a wax figure of Humphrey, or wax statue of Humphrey Bogart, then I'll be really impressed.
This is my attic. I like to call it my Brett Man cave, you know? You get it. This is the hangout spot for like my friends and I. My favorite pieces
There's no
in this
TV.
room are these mahjong sets, and I want to collect all of them. They're so hard to find. I actually prefer sleeping here. So when I show you guys my room, just know that I do not sleep in there. I sleep in here. It's so comfy. So comfy. I also like to journal over here. You might notice the
I tried journaling once.
Like
It was just really sad.
people. This one is Mr.
I would just write shit down like, yep, didn't win at Fortnite today.
Mr. Einstein
Then I played Sly Cooper.
Science is my favorite subject ever
Going to
since I
bed
was a
now.
kid, and which is the reason why I have a science corner over here where I film my science videos. I just like to collect like trinkets and like small things. Like this is from a show that I am currently working on, like these pieces right here. I have like this really powerful crystal over here called the Moldavite. We love her. It's kind of like my science studio, I guess. Love this room.
Is he like an
All these
actual
beanbags
scientist,
as well
or is he
that
just
are
joking
very
around?
much
Is it like a bit he
comfortable. Oh my
does?
gosh, you could literally sink in here and just stay here all day, which is what I do all the time. I just sit here. Literally. I like to call this my manifesting
Just a bit? Oh,
tower.
okay, okay.
A lot of like my crystals are over here. And whenever I'm manifesting or journaling, I like to stay in this room because of like all the energy. I don't know if you could feel the energy through the video right now, but I'm sending you some.
Oh, I am feeling it. I just got a burst of that.
This is my beauty room. If you guys watch my YouTube channel, you guys probably seen this room. I love this room so much. Obviously, I'm known for being the most beautiful person in this world. No one has ever said that, just I think that. This room is just a cute reminder of where I started. I started off
Any
with
Jeffree Star palettes in there?
obviously, and now
I have one of
literally
those.
have Sephora in my house. These curtains remind me of Sephora because, girl, when I was younger, I literally would go to Sephora. And
Have you seen the Let's
just
Paint exercise?
think to
What?
myself
No,
like
what?
how cool it would be to get so much makeup and to own makeup, because at the time like I could barely afford anything. And I don't know, it's just like such a cute reminder of why I even started social media and everything in between. So this is my wig wall. I have 30 plus wigs. It does get creepy whenever I'm doing my makeup by myself because I feel like I'm being
Does that
judged
makeup
by
not
30
go bad
girls.
stockpiling it like
But
that?
also I'm prettier than half of these
I have no
girls,
fucking idea,
so
man. I'm not a
what y'all
makeup
think?
scientist.
But yeah, this is my wig wall. So over here we have my closet slash fitting room. You'll see later my other closet, but this is kind of just where I store a lot of my clothes. And my favorite thing about this is this moment right here. This is not my everyday closet. This is kind of just like
This all
my
just looks pretty
extra
normal. Show me
room.
some like
So I put
weird,
all of my
crazy shit
extra clothes
again.
in here. Literally could be
Oh
So now I'm
wow.
gonna take you guys outside.
Holy shit! Does he own all that property?
So welcome to my patio, you guys. I
Oh, no, it's a
have
different house.
This chair right here. I love it. These are like outdoor chairs. It do rain a lot where I live. I also have this floating chair right here. I also have another Kenneth piece right here. I don't know, I feel like I'm in the embryo and I feel like a fetus again when I'm here. That's like literally the worst comparison ever, but that's
Pretty
honestly
cool,
how I feel
actually.
here. I also
Not often
have
you get to
this
feel like a fetus.
cactus garden over here, which is not really all my cactus, but we have
What?
plants in here as well.
This would be the
It's
worst
a lot of
place to
fun, so
break
I
in
like
for a
to put
burglar.
sun-loving plants out here.
You bring a
My
ladder to break in on the
favorite
second
part
floor and
about
just get
living in
attacked by
Hawaii
these
is
fucking
just
cactuses
the
when you get over the
energy of
railing.
living here. Obviously, there's so many mountains around the world, but I just feel like Hawaii mountains just hit different. It's just such a magical
Thanks
state.
to the
It's
resub,
such a
RJ
magical
and Walmart.
place to live in. I feel like I really could not see myself thriving anywhere else around the world. It will forever be my home, and I just love it because people treat me like a normal person over here. Another thing that's like really magical about this
I can't
place
imagine you
is
like
that
being
it
treated
just
like a normal
sounds
person
like
though, just looking at the
nature at all
house.
times. Like,
You have a butthole chair and a butt cheek chair. I feel like you wouldn't
see,
like
I
to be
speak
treated
birds, and
normally.
they said, that's right.
I imagine the attention is probably
Over here
a huge
we
draw.
have my third living room. I don't know why anyone needs 3 living rooms, but I do. And this one is kind of like my gaming room, basically. We play a lot of games over here. We do a lot of Switch tournaments. These are probably one of the most comfortable couches I've ever sat on my entire life. These are called the Togo sofas.
It looks a little too firm.
This yellow is
I
everything.
like couches
All
that you
underneath is
fucking
vanilla
sink
in
into, fucking
This is
melt
like their
in.
room. I have another painting wall over here. This painting is my favorite painting ever. It's from Punky Aloha. I don't know, obviously I'm not her, but doesn't this picture make you want to be her? This one's also really cute. She's sitting on a papaya bath, and I love taking baths.
What about papayas though? Do you like papayas?
We have my room over here. And we have my stripper pole over here.
That's
which
important.
wakes me up every morning.
Stripper poles are
And
fucking
I've
cool.
always
I have one.
dreamt of having a stripper pole in my room, and so now I do. It's crazy. Like things that I used to think about when I was a kid.
Thanks to the
It's
resub,
literally
Arca.
it became my house. My favorite part about this room is this wallpaper that we chose. It just ties this room together so well. Also, these sheets, locally made. You already know the vibes. This is where I keep all of my everyday makeup. Upstairs is like all of my makeup, and these are like my everyday makeup. I get ready here every morning, every day. I feel like I sound like a broken record, but open view, windows everywhere.
Actually, pretty cool house.
Also, another fireplace over here that I never really use because Hawaii is so hot, but it's such a flex. Like, oh yeah, I have a fireplace. 2 of them. This is my bathroom right here.
Any
Get
marble?
ready over here every day. I also take a lot of baths. And you know how I was talking to you guys earlier about my closet, my other closet, and like my favorite piece? Well, all of my favorite pieces are in this tiny ass closet. I'm working on extending it.
It is a little too cramped in there.
I'm a big fan of like sunglasses. So sunglasses are over here. This is from my sunglasses.
Are those cool sunglasses? Those look like
I collect
shit.
a lot of, like,
Let's get some really cool ones that like glow in the dark.
Definitely still working on this closet room. She's a hot mess. She's gonna be bigger the next time you see it. So I guess now I'm gonna take you guys
Thanks, Resub
into
Nozel.
my front yard. A lot of people will argue that it's my backyard, but it's honestly my front yard.
Holy shit.
So now we are in my front yard. I have these lounge chairs over here, and I have a fire pit right here as well, which I love. And my favorite piece in here would probably be my
Is that a dick?
succulent.
It is a cock.
It's definitely a statement piece. So over here is my outdoor lounge area. My family, when they come over, this is kind of where we eat most of the time. We have like this circular lounge area right here. But my favorite is this, and this is actually where I eat most of my meals. I like to eat my meals outside. I also am working on putting a bar in here. Right now it's just a table, but eventually I'll have like a full bar. Speaking of like future projects, I am planning on putting a pool right in front over here.
Oh, don't waste the space.
I'll probably get that done in the summer. I also love this avocado tree.
I feel
right
like
here.
pools are never
She's actually producing
that
new
fun.
avocados for me, and so it's always cute. I love avocados. So now my
Then again,
dogs
maybe
are
I'm
out
just not
here
a big
to
pool
join
guy.
us. I do have a cute little like mini farm in my house. I have 4 cats, 2 dogs, a bunch of fishes, and I'm probably
Thanks,
gonna
Prime
get like a
G'd.
bird sometime soon. This is Elle, and then Tora. So this is Tora right here. This is Elle. Elle is a rescue, and Tora is adopted. So love these 2 so much.
Don't
and
say that in front of her,
they just
bro.
kind of like both fell into my life, and I didn't even like really like train them. They just kind of are such good dogs. Like they really are. And they're just so fun and silly. Like, Tora reminds me of a jelly bean. So yeah, that was my house. I love... So yeah, that was my house. I love having a place in Hawaii. I will
That's so
always
cute.
be a Hawaii boy. I'll always be an island boy. And just so blessed to be surrounded by nature and kind, nice, amazing people. There is one more thing that I forgot to show you guys, and it is my monster truck of a golf cart.
Holy
Girl,
shit.
getting the mail is a task, so you need a golf cart. I hope you guys enjoyed my house. You are more
That's
than
a pretty
welcome to
fucking
stay
awesome golf
and
cart.
enjoy the view. I am gonna go grab my mail real quick, and I'll see you guys later. Aloha.
He just crashes into his house. Peels out, flips it over. Actually, pretty cool house. Yeah, not bad. I'm too scared of hurricane. Is Hawaii known for getting a lot of bad hurricanes? I mean, I don't really know. Again, are you ever going to return to Dead by Daylight? Yeah, I'll probably play it at some point. I've already seen the trumpet playing thing, man. That's an extreme viral video. It's known for bad volcanoes. Well, volcanoes don't usually erupt over there or anything, do they? How far is too far videos? Do you mean how far is tattoo far? Is that what you're trying? Maybe not. I'll type it in. Oh, whoops. Yeah, how far is tattoo far? No, you can't watch this one though on stream, can I? Don't they have like butt cheek and shit in it? I can't watch it on Twitch. Thanks to the Prime, Slammin' Sammy. Oh, I did miss that one then, Drake. Thanks to the resub, Firefox. Have you seen Let's Paint Exercise? Someone said that earlier. I don't know if I've seen it. Thanks to the resub, Happy Face. Thanks to the resub, Kitty. Have you seen the harmonica what? Harmonica pain scale? Yeah, that's where they put the harmonica in their mouth and hit each other. Right? I'm thinking of the right thing, right? Exit tier 1 Esper. Yeah.
どうも、フィッシャーズ元木です。どうも、シルクです。マサイです。俺から取り入れたから。そう。フィッシャーどうかじゃない。ずれてる。そう。レベルチャレンジャー。おしゃれネギ。Go! Go! Level 2. Negi.
Thanks to the resub, Senor Pupus.
Negi. Go! セロリ。かぼちゃいきます。セロリ。
Well, this is not what I saw. Oh, there we go. This is the more the shit I saw.
フライパンもう結構痛いよ。いくよ。
Yeah, I saw this on Twitter a while ago. You should look at InSpoBot.
クリアできなかったんで、クリアするまでこれやり続けますね。クリアするまで。レベル6。
Thanks for your sub, Shrubby in the Prime Booba.
レベル6。
Thanks to the bits, Crimson. One of the angriest dudes in the game, I have no shame. Oh, this is your video. No. That opens up a very dangerous can of worms. Thanks for your resub, Buck. Thanks to the resub, it's Midgod. Invisible Man versus Invisible Stan. That's a classic. I say that about a lot of things. That one's not that old, but it's really fucking good. I love that match. Thanks to the Prime Wizard. League World Song. I'm not trying to get DMCA'd. You should watch a Dark Souls speedrun. I've already watched Dark Souls speedruns. I want to speedrun the game at some point. It's just a pretty hard one. Literally any video by Post10. Alright. Newest one. I wonder if he drains it.
Today, we're in northern New England. Look at this. Someone threw out a whole bunch of beer bottles and half of them shattered. We'll go ahead and pick that up in a moment. But what caught my attention is this little culvert pipe here. The water levels are definitely different on each side, which makes me believe there might be a small blockage.
I like the idea of Post10, but I don't really like watching it for YouTube
See
night.
the cracks?
But he's gonna open this pipe up, I bet.
Compared to a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
We're gonna go. Can't see much there. The big difference you can see is over from this angle, it going into the pond.
Fuck yeah. I know Sam Onella, man. He's even been on our podcast. I've of course seen his content. You cannot play this and not pass out. What? This? I hate the way this title is worded. It should be, you can't play this without passing out. Wow. Holy shit. Damn, this guy's good. Holy shit. That man just fucking popped off. Now it looks like he tried it. It's a different instrument, I don't know if that helps. Excellent technique. Love to see it. Thanks to the resub Robo Tits and Andy. I can't watch Japan's Most Evil Cult. I already know about it. The Disturbing Case of the Amazon Review Killer. Didn't we already watch that? That sounds really familiar. Watch the Nutty Putty Cave. I've talked about that a lot. Nutty Putty Cave is really fucking disturbing. Someone said last time that I always bring up the Nutty Putty Cave on YouTube nights, and it really does seem like that's the case. This is like the 4th one in a row that I can recall bringing up the Nutty Putty Cave. Have you watched any of Shane and Ryan's BuzzFeed Unsolved? Yeah, I don't really like it. I just don't like BuzzFeed. Tree Man. Okay, I'll look up Tree Man. Old encountered a telemarketing scheme. Oh, old man encountered a telemarketing scheme. Here, this is a nice 1-minute video. What am I looking for?
能不能快一点呀？慢死了。不好意思。后面都等着呢，别耽误我们时间行不行？你别急他，越急他越乱。你别急他。不是现在人家都会网上支付，就你不会。你老头要是不会用网上支付，你就别出来了，还能干什么呀？稍微等。
Why did you recommend this?
你连找个钱都不会，我都排到现在了。不好意思。 自己什么也不会，就别老出来耽误别人时间。爷，您都别说了嘛，这家里没有老人吗？别说了。
你把钱给到我这儿就行了，你让他手拿走，一共多少钱？30分，先让您交上。
Okay. Thanks to Prime Neo. You really wanted me to see this. Why? What?
你什么破车啊？谁车？我买了，怎么了？
Okay. Good message. Don't treat old people like shit. All right. Thanks to the resub lukewarm. Hey, sleep well, Super Goat, and thank you. Charles Manson's epic question. Oh, it's this one.
Do you feel blame? Are you mad? Do you feel like Wolves Kebab's referendums? Get friends,
I actually made a video to that probably about 6 years ago. It was when, I think it was Young Thug. I think it was like Young Thug's big hit Lifestyle. And Young Thug and like Playboy Cardi and all them, like a lot of their verses, pretty much everything they say just sounds like gibberish in a lot of their tracks. So I played this over Lifestyle, and it sounded really fucking good. There's that mumble rap shit. Not a huge fan. Never have been. Yellow screen painting. This? I don't really want to watch 31 minutes of this. How about this? Is this the same thing?
안녕하세요. 오늘 그릴 그림은 노란 비명이라는 그림입니다.
It looks pretty good. I'm pretty impressed. Finally, some real art. Is the resubcleptic? $10 million art, easy. All fucking day. The Great Duck Stamp Rivalry. Thanks to Resub Casco. This? Thanks to the Bits Esper.
Rob McBroom is a guy who enters the duck stamp every year, and every year he violates the rules. He breaks every rule of the contest. And he's really just an attention seeker.
I don't know if we need to talk about Tim Taylor. He and I have never directly confronted each other. He is taken to bad-mouthing me on the internet a bit.
Oh no.
He's found this contest that
he makes
people take
Reddit posts
very seriously, and the contestants work really hard on their entries, and he mocks it. He does paintings that mock it.
Here's the first one that I found about me. The sequin guy violates all the rules of the competition, and yet they allow it because they enjoy it and think it's funny. This guy has wasted thousands on entry fees and who knows how many hours. To what end?
Tier 1 tepid.
You'll never win.
I never said a bad word about his artwork. Just doesn't belong in this contest. But he obviously read that and took great offense to it.
What I decided to do, it was him and one other guy. I started recreating their work, their kind of greatest hits, as it were.
Thanks to Resub
using my own
Carcinogen.
style. This is about as close as you can get to Tim's original without actually knowing the size. And it's completely built from scratch.
This is the piece of work that Rob McBroom took off of the internet to abstract.
The little bits I've learned about him, I'm like, okay, he obviously hates Barack Obama and he hates communism. So I decided to load it up with imagery with that.
Here's Barack Obama's birth certificate that he released.
Okay.
Here's the eye of the duck, which is the communist symbol.
There's other things in here, like he was holding a baby at a christening, and then I put Lenin's head on top of it.
Okay, it's
some
pretty
of his other
fucking
pieces
good.
that didn't do so well in the competitions that he doesn't like. So there's an old surf scoter that he had that he was unhappy with, so that went in there.
I was
Is it tier 1
ultimately
Azazel?
Thought it was funny, then I was a little angry about it, then I didn't care. I'm his big villain, and I didn't even know I was his villain. and nobody cares. I wonder if the guy's ever actually seen a duck.
What a fucking useless rivalry. But I do love the commitment to the shitpost. Most iconic rivalry in sports. It's got to be up there. I used to give some Yuki. Alright, I'm actually going to call it an early night. Thanks everyone for tuning in. To everyone who donated, big thanks. New subs, welcome aboard. Sub means a lot. Thanks for subbing. Enjoy the emotes, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks again, everyone. I really appreciate it, and I hope you all have a great rest of your evening. I'll toss you to Caleb. He's on the grind. Good night, everyone. See ya. And thanks to the resub, Siggy.